Buccaneers have won the coin toss and have elected to receive. Kick went out of bounds, and Tampa takes the ball at the 35, and Vinny Testaverde at the helm, playing very impressive football this year. The offensive front that has protected him so well: Paul Gruber, Carl Baxton for his second start, Bubba Grimes at center, Ian Beckles, Rob Taylor, and Ron Hall at the tight end. Bags and receivers: John Harvey in 4, Gary Anderson, Reggie Cobb. Wide receivers: Frank Pillow and Mark Carrier. 1st and 10 for the Bucs from their own 35. This is Cobb, and Cobb across the 40 to about the 47-yard line. A couple of yards shy of the first down, stopped by Ken Norton. And the defense that the Cowboys will be throwing out there today at the ends: Daniel Stubbs and Jim Jeffcoat. The tackles: Jimmy Jones and Danny Noonan. Linebacking core: Jack Del Rio, Eugene Lockhart, and Ken Norton. And the secondary nicked up indeed: Holt, Hendricks, Horton, and Albritton. 2nd and 2. On the ground again, Harvey. And Harvey strung out on the run. Maybe a gain of 1 as you take a look at Gary Anderson on the sidelines. And Randy, he has been the big spark plug for the Bucs this year.
Exactly, leading the NFL in all-around yardage for a running back. He's had a great season so far, but Ray Perkins likes to emphasize the fact that he can plug people in now. He has the depth to play different people at different positions, and the team will not suffer. But I look for Reggie Cobb at fullback to be emphasized more today with Gary Anderson out of the lineup.
3rd and 1 from the 44. On the ground again and up and over. Cobb leaping for the first down, and it looks as if he has it from here, Randy.
And we'll see Reggie Cobb dive over the top here, number 32. That's a specialty of Gary Anderson. He doesn't get quite the height Anderson would normally get, but at his size, he's got more momentum, and that carries him for the first down.
So the ball marked at the 45 of Tampa. They pick up the first down.
And today could be a real test of Reggie Cobb, number 33, there you see on your screen, his all-around ability and his conditioning, because he has not been featured since last year when he was at the University of Tennessee.
Frank Pillow to the top of your screen. Mark Carrier to the bottom. This is Harvey in motion. Testaverde to pass. Complete to the sidelines to Pillow, and Pillow up near the first down marker and make that Ron Hall, the big tight end out of Hawaii. And he gained a yard more than necessary for the first down.
This is a good example of the new type of passing offense that Vinny Testaverde and the Bucs have been featuring. It's very conservative. Vinny doesn't go very far downfield, but he takes safe passes. That's the main reason his quarterback rating is now 3rd in the NFL at 105.
Ball marked at the 44 of Dallas. 1st and 10. Testaverde back to a second pass. Won't get it off as he's sacked. Looked to be Danny Noonan.
And defensive end Danny Stubbs, number 96, told us the key to getting after Tampa Bay is taking Anderson out of the game and getting after Vinny Testaverde. You see Noonan at 73 over Grimes, number 60, the center. He just beats him clean. There's some games around there. He loses Grimes, and it was a good example of tenacity and staying with it by Danny Noonan.
And a timeout charged to Tampa Bay as Vinny Testaverde comes up limping after that sack by Danny Noonan. We'll be back in just a moment.
Danny Noonan, number 73, come from right in front of Vinny Testaverde in the middle of your screen. But the thing to watch here is Testaverde's right knee gets driven down into the turf. Everybody falls on top of him, and he came up a little bit limping. Vinny now has got to be in the back of his mind concerned with the pass rush from the Cowboys.
And a loss of 8 on the play, making it 2nd and 18. Testaverde going up top, looking for Pillow, who slipped, and it's intercepted. Isaac Holt comes up with the interception for the Cowboys. And that is Holt's 2nd interception of the season. He has the only 2 Cowboy interceptions of the year.
Coming into this game, Vinny only had 3 interceptions. Here you see Pillow's going to be stumbling a little bit. but it would appear, even if he hadn't stumbled, that it was very, very well covered by Isaac Holt on that play, possibly an ill-advised pass. And we'll see the very end of it as Pillow falls down. Nice play reaching back for the ball by Isaac Holt.
Testaverde coming into the game had thrown 96 passes without an interception, and Holt comes up with his second pick of the year. 1st and 10 for the Cowboys. Ball at their own 14. Aikman keeps it on the ground to Smith. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Loss of 1 on the play.
This Tampa Bay Bucs defense has always been a very physical one in the middle. Now they've got the outside speed to go with it.
Roderick Thomas on the stop. Troy Aikman had an impressive outing against the Bucs last time out. 17 of 24. 1 touchdown, 1 interception. There are the numbers. 2nd and 11 from the 13. Flag on a play. Aikman throws it complete to Jay Novacek, who gets up near the 20. Jerry Markwright is the referee, head of today's crew.
I think it was simple, guys. It was motion in the Dallas backfield.
He calls over the head linesman, Leo Miles, to make certain he's got the house cleaning in order.
It's going to be illegal procedure on number 32.
There's no illegal motion on the play. The back was motionless at the snap. 2nd down.
The offensive line that Aikman operating behind, 2 and 8. Crawford Kerr, Mark Stepnowski, John Visick, Nate Newton, and Jay Novacek. The backfield, Emmitt Smith and a frustrated Alonzo Highsmith. Wide receivers, Kelvin Martin and Dennis McKinnon playing with a banged-up knee. Darrell Johnston in, Emmitt Smith out. 3rd and 5. And there's a flag thrown on the play before the play starts. And Randy, more than a few people having difficulties adjusting to that 25-second play clock. The defense of Tampa Bay, Reuben Davis, Jim Scow at the ends, nose tackle Kurt Jarvis, linebacking core, the strength of this defense. Roderick Thomas, Eugene Marr, Winston Moss on the inside here. Kevin Murphy on the outside. In the secondary, Reynolds, Wayne Haddix, the corners, the safeties from Penn State, Mark Robinson and Harry Hamilton. 3rd and 10. Aikman, good time. Throws it incomplete. Intended receiver was Michael Irvin. And Randy, that looked like a catchable ball.
I think it was definitely a catchable ball, especially when you consider Tampa Bay dropped off. They lined up Roderick Thomas as a rusher and dropped him back into the coverage. You see him there, number 51 for Tampa. You'll see Irvin cross into there. The ball is in his hand, but also in the back of his mind, he's got to be thinking about Hamilton, number 39, that's in there. The safety for Tampa is in there getting ready to hit him.
Mike Saxon, second leading punter in the NFC. On the punt, back deep, Willie Drury for the Bucs. Saxon. And Drury from the 40. Drop. Darrell Johnston down to limit him to a 4-yard return on a 45-yard punt. Tampa ball when we come back. We're describing Tampa at the top of the show. They're in 2nd place in the NFC Central Division with an opportunity to gain on the rest of the division, specifically Chicago, because this is a bye week for the Central. 1st and 10 for the Bucs. Ball at their own 45. Testaverde throws it complete to Mark Carrier for the 1st down.
And without And without Bruce Hill, number 84, in the game for Tampa, Mark Carrier has got to be a marked man as far as the Dallas Cowboys defense is concerned. They don't know really what Frank Pillow can do. They don't know what Peebles can do. They know what Carrier can do. He's a legitimate all-pro receiver, and they've got to compensate for him. He was very well covered there. It was a good pass and a very good catch by Carrier.
17-yard pass play, the last one. First and 10 from the 38 of the Cowboys. On the ground, Cobb, steady. Spun all the way for a 1-yard gain, stopped by Vince Albritton. 9:20 remaining in the first quarter. No score here.
We talked about earlier with that standings in the NFC Central. You know, Tampa at 4-2 is in second place. We could go on for years trying to discuss exactly how the scheduling is done in the NFL, but it's a known fact. Fifth-place teams really get good scheduling breaks, and Tampa's got scheduling breaks. They've got potential to go through for a very, very good winning season with their schedule. 2nd and 9, 3 wideouts in. Cobb, the lone back. Testaverde throws it complete. Pillow for yet another first down. 22-yard pass play from Testaverde to the third-year player Frank Pillow out of Tennessee State. And this is the kind of play Vinny Testaverde was not making in his first 3 years. He's getting pressure. He's got the poise to step up, find the receiver he wants crossing late, and it was a nice job by Pillow, almost stumbling and then finally tripping and falling. But kudos to Vinny Testaverde. Very, very cool play.
Pillow was a little frustrated last week that Danny Peoples, third on the depth chart, got into the Green Bay game before him. He wants to show he can play. 1st and 10. Cobb trying to slip and drive his way ahead for 2 yards. Ken Norton doing a good job pressuring and flushing him out that time. Ray Perkins, in his 4th season as head coach, says he's right on target as far as his 5-year game plan of making his team a winner.
This team's going to have an opportunity, like I said earlier, to have a successful record. What's going to be key for them is playing at a consistent level every week and not peaks and valleys. They were in a valley last time they played Dallas. Ray Perkins said, I knew my guys weren't ready to play. This time, they're focused, they're ready.
2nd and 8 from the 13 of Dallas. Testaverde dropped. 2nd sack of the afternoon for the Cowboys, and 2nd sack specifically for Danny Noonan. A loss of 7 on the play, so Noonan has pushed Testaverde back for a total of 15 yards on 2 sacks.
And we talked earlier about the defensive backfield being banged up for the Dallas Cowboys. You wouldn't expect them to take too many chances, but Danny Noonan here with a blitz on to his left overpowers Grimes, the center, number 60, and Danny Noonan, number 73, is all over Vinny Testaverde.
4 wideouts in on 3rd and 15. Ball at the 20. 6 defensive backs in for the Cowboys. Did he trap it? Incomplete, as Testaverde threw it low off the carpet that time. Intended receiver was Frank Pillow.
Slow motion for the end of the play. Watch the ball hit the ground right there. Good trap into your body, and a nice call by the umpire, who was right on the play.
So Steve Christie, the rookie out of William & Mary, who has 11 consecutive field goals, comes on to attempt a 37-yarder. Up. And it's good. No, it's no good. So Christie, it will stick at 11 in a row. Leading scorer in the NFC with 50 points. Fails on that one. In last place with a mark of 2-4. Their 2 victories have come over San Diego and Tampa. 1st and 10. Dallas at its own 20. No score in the first quarter. Aikman keeps it on the ground. Smith. And Smith, no gain on the play. Strung out nicely by the Tampa defense.
And thus far, Broderick Thomas of the Tampa Bay Bucs and this defense is coming through with their vow. Emmitt Smith will not run wild on us again. And we saw those standings of the NFC Central Division, NFC East Division, with Dallas down at the bottom. You know, this is a team a week ago we went into Phoenix and talked about playoffs, a chance of being 3-3. And Danny Stubbs, their defensive end, number 96, says, maybe I was a little misquoted. I said I was used to playing with playoff teams, not that this was a playoff team.
Big difference. 2nd and 10 out of the I formation. On the ground again, Smith. And Emmitt Smith this time scampers ahead for about 6 yards. Will bring up a 3rd and 4 situation stopped by Kevin Murphy.
Kurt Jarvis is the nose guard for the Tampa Bay defense, and he takes a little bit of a gamble and a guess, taking the wrong side on Stepnoski, which opens up the hole in the middle of the Tampa Bay defense. Last time they played Dallas, down in Dallas, Kurt Jarvis, number 95, got boloed by Alonzo Highsmith on a pass blocking block. He said he was out cold. He had no idea where he was.
3 wideouts in on 3rd and 4. Michael Irvin to the near side. Aikman has it batted and nearly intercepted. It looked to be Winston Moss who got a hand on that one, and it was up high enough that Novacek almost could have come away with the catch anyway.
Novacek appeared to have a little bit of a problem with his depth perception. That ball went up in the air. He kind of looked like he would not be much of a threat on a basketball court, because that ball went up there, and he goes to jump for it. He jumped about a 1.5 seconds before he really needed to. Now watch the top of your screen right there. The ball is blocked by Moss. He doesn't know where it's going. Novacek didn't have a clue and didn't have a chance to catch it.
This is Mike Saxon about the punt, waiting to catch this. Willie Drury. Saxon, not a good one at all. And heads out of bounds at about the 40 of Tampa. So the Bucs will operate with good field position. No score here in the first quarter.
Talk about a 4-year plan with the quarterback. Look at Vinny Testaverde's numbers this year in 1990 compared to his others. The completion was spectacular in previous years, but the big difference, interceptions. He's got 1 today, but this guy threw nothing but picks for 2 years in the last 2 seasons.
Major league picks. So keeps this one on the ground. John Harvey. Harvey maybe a 2-yard gain. John Harvey, UTEP's all-time rushing, touchdown, and scoring leader. Was on the Bucs' developmental squad last year and getting the chance to play. And Ray Perkins really had some high praise, saying he doesn't think he'll lose a step at all with Gary Anderson now. That's pretty strong, Randy.
Well, all respect to Ray Perkins, I disagree very strongly. I think Anderson has been the difference in this offense. He's why Vinny Testaverde's had better passing percentage, because he's put a legitimate threat in the backfield in the running game.
On 2nd and 8, Testaverde throws it incomplete. Intended receiver was Reggie Cobb, the rookie out of Tennessee.
There's a 3rd down and 8.
And Ray Perkins, who calls the shots. Dallas, boy, did they have a rough one last week against Phoenix in total yards, and not starting strong here.
Well, they're right on pace so far. You know, we asked Troy Aikman yesterday when we talked to him, well, Troy, at what point in the second quarter will you go over your total offense for last week? He just kind of laughed and looked at us and said, well, God, I hope so.
3rd and 8, 4 wideouts in for the Bucs. All at their own 39. Testaverde completes the carry for the 1st down. And boy, does Carrier attract a crowd. A 30-yard pass play.
And with his numbers last year, Mark Carrier is guaranteed to draw crowds, especially with Hill out of the game, his running buddy on the other side. A simple crossing pattern, and I'm sorry, if you get Billy Bates, number 40, in a foot race with Mark Carrier one-on-one, that is a severe matchup, because Billy Bates, as good as he is on special teams, has only got average speed for a defensive back.
No score with 3:45 remaining in the first. Bucs 1st and 10 from the 31 of Dallas. Complete. They called it a reception, and good enough for another 1st down. So Mark Carrier, 3 big receptions thus far for 59 yards. That in the first quarter.
And Carrier is very much, you talk about streaky quarterback, Carrier is a streaky wide receiver. When he gets hot and on a roll is when he is at his most dangerous. And that was a fine catch, because Vinny put that ball down there about 9 to 12 inches off the ground. The only person that had a chance to catch that ball was Mark Carrier.
And they're going to review this one as the umpire. It's the signal from upstairs. So starting at this point, we'll start the 2-minute count. That's the limit that the replay official Bob Beeks will have to make a judgment on this play.
James, have you ever kind of wondered lately in professional sports, it seems like the guys in the striped shirts, the officials are getting more and more involved in being part of the game. I always thought they were supposed to be sort of an ancillary type of a viewer of the game, and to be occasionally kind of like a boxing referee. One more look at it. Let's see the ball come in. Ball's good. Play stands.
I know Barry Bonds of the Pittsburgh Pirates seconds you on that. He says the umpires had just taken over this year in Major League Baseball.
I wish I had Roger Clemens here to talk about that subject.
That review only took 40 seconds as Reggie Cobb takes the handoff and gets inside the 10 to about the 7-yard line. Ken Norton on the stop, but he got enough for the first down on that play.
It hasn't been since 1979 as the Bucs have had an effective running game. They're big, they're physical up front, and on that play, they just gashed them in the middle and manhandled their people man on man. And you got to look at those guys, Grimes back and Beckles in the middle, that they made the difference on that play.
First and goal, ball marked at the 7. Cobb, the lone back for the Bucs, and the ball carrier, and hit hard and dropped. Eugene Lockhart. And Lockhart, boy, is he coming off of a good year. All-Pro last season. And in great shape. And was very candid, Randy, in talking with you about the defense is not a great defense, so they've got to be ready all the time.
They're a real intensity level kind of a team. They're the kind of defense that makes up for a few physical inadequacies. Eugene Lockhart is their legitimate star. He goes sideline to sideline. He can stay with anybody, and he'll hit anything that moves.
Second and goal, ball on the 6. Incomplete. No flag on the play. Intended receiver was Ron Hall, and Randy inside the 20. This is where Ray Perkins would like to pick up a few more touchdowns. They've been inside here 20 times, 9 TDs, and 8 field goals.
That's right, James, and it's been a real problem for Tampa, and that's been punching the ball in. And I think a lot of that emphasis when you get down here has got to go to the quarterback. It's got to go to the passing game. Running is very, very important, but you can put some defenses in bad positions. As good as they run it, play action works great, but not on third down.
Third and goal. Carrier and Peebles to the near side. This is Carrier in motion. Intended receiver was Carrier, and Bates, Bill Bates, defends that one nicely. No flag on the play.
And that's the kind of position a Billy Bates is very, very good at. You put him in a zone. He's played the middle linebacker in their nickel defense. He gets back there. He can occupy an area. He doesn't have to worry about being man-on-man. And here's Mark Carey, number 88, going in motion. You'll see him cross over the middle, and Billy Bates has got his eyes on him all the way. And you'll see number 40 right there. Dives in front of it and knocks it down, and actually was mad that he didn't catch that ball.
Steve Christie, who missed a 37-yarder, will attempt this 23-yarder, and this one is good. So Tampa Bay gets on the scoreboard first on the foot of Steve Christie and take a 3-0 lead. Live here in Tampa, Florida, here at Tampa Stadium. 300 seats shy of a sellout for this rematch between the Cowboys and the Buccaneers. James Brown along with Randy Cross in Tampa goes on the scoreboard first thanks to Steve Christie's 23-yard field goal. And Dallas looking to come off of a franchise low of only 100 total yards last week, Randy.
It was a game Jimmy Johnson right there, the head coach of Dallas, would soon forget. I told him, hey, on our veteran team when I was playing, we wouldn't watch a film like that. Jimmy Johnson looked at me and kind of smiled and says, you know, Randy, I'd love not to get to watch that film, but we're so inexperienced, we've got to look at it and learn from it.
And learn is what the Bucs have done under Ray Perkins. Steve Christie unseated Donald Igwe-Buike here, and one of the reasons, much more depth on his kickoffs. And Randy, a lot of people, I guess, don't really focus on how important an aspect that is.
I think two of the most important aspects of football are field position and time of possession.
And Christie puts this one nicely. James Dixon from the end zone. And Dixon walloped at about the 11. Bruce Perkins in there with the tackle.
And Troy Aikman has taken a beating so far this year, as you can see. 22 sacks against the Dallas Cowboys, all more than likely hitting the body of number 8, and each sore. It's only the 6th game, Troy. If you think you're sore now, wait until 16.
And this is a quarterback 6'4", 216, but getting hit by a pro-size lineman is no fun. 1:15 remaining in the first quarter. Aikman back to pass on first down. Throws it complete to Tommy Agee, and there's a flag on the play as Agee gets more than the necessary yardage for a first down. But let's take a look and see what the call is.
It would appear to be defensive holding coming deep out of the backfield.
Randy, you were on that one.
Holding, defense, penalty declined, first down.
A 14-yard pass play from Aikman to Agee.
Agee, number 32 or 33, is a guy that's really come on strong. 34, I'm sorry, has been a guy that has come on strong. His injuries are better. He was hobbled a little bit by a knee, but look at him cutting and twisting and turning. Jimmy Johnson is high on Agee, number 34.
Under a minute to play, Cowboys out of the I formation. On the ground again, this is Emmitt Smith. And Smith runs hard, looks to have the first down, and he's got some inspiration today. He's got 47 friends and relatives having come up to watch him play today.
Which can cost you a little bit of money, even if you are a high draft pick as a rookie. He also has his motivation, Reuben Davis, talking about him in the papers, and it's an article that Smith carried around in his playbook all week long. And Smith finally busts loose. You know, Broderick Thomas told us Friday, I can't figure out how this guy got 121 yards last time. He get kind of 5 and he get kind of 3. How'd he do it?
They got 11 the last play and maybe 2 this play. And that'll be it for the first quarter of play here in Tampa Stadium. That's the end of the first quarter with the score Tampa 3, Dallas nothing. We'll be back with the second quarter in just a moment.
Coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Honda, maker of fine quality automobiles. Test drive a Honda at your local dealer today. Hewlett Packard LaserJet printers, they'll get you noticed. And by Budweiser with that clean, crisp, cold taste. Nothing beats a Bud.
Splendiferous afternoon here in Tampa, Florida. And the Bucs early lead, 3-0. And I guess it's splendiferous only if you're watching and not playing, because take a look at what the field temperature is.
Oh, it's only 90? It must be nice autumn, kind of fall weather here in Florida. Only 90 degrees? Piece of cake.
Out of the eye, 2nd and 8 for the Cowboys. Emmitt Smith. And Smith seemed to have lost his footing on that play. And we'll call that no gain. We'll bring up a 3rd and 8.
And Dallas, even though they have not been successful to this point running the ball, is willing to stay with it, even though they haven't been successful, to emphasize it. They know they have to run it. They've got to get time of possession off the clock. They need to control the clock, keep their defense off the field. Another point that Troy Aikman told us, he says, look, you look for number 31 on their defense, Rodney Rice. We've got to make Rodney Rice play well against us in the nickel. We want to get him matched up.
3 wide receiver set. Darrell Johnston, the lone back for the Cowboys. Aikman going up top for McKinnon. There's a flag on the play. And Ricky Reynolds had his hands on the ball. But there is a flag on the play.
There was a little bumping downfield around the 30-35-yard line. And from the looks of that flag coming in there, it could be a little defensive holding on Reynolds, hitting him past the 5-yard limit.
Illegal contact foul, number 26, defense, 5 yards, automatic first down.
I think he means 29, Ricky Reynolds.
Yeah, because John Harvey is on the bench.
And remember, folks, it's 5 yards down the field. Then you can't touch him if you don't have your eyes on the ball. And he does contact him earlier. We didn't quite get a good shot of it and see it, but he contacted him earlier, and it was past the 5-yard limit. And it was against 29, Ricky Reynolds. John Harvey's a heck of a halfback. I wouldn't want to put pressure on him and make him cover those guys one-on-one.
I'm sure he yelled from the sidelines and say, hey, not me. 1st and 10 for Dallas. Ball at their own 48. Just underway here in the second quarter. Aikman goes complete, and it's dropped. Wayne Haddix applied a wicked hit to Emmitt Smith. And Smith had it for all of a fraction of a second before that major hit.
Haddix sees Emmitt Smith coming the whole way. He sees the ball coming the whole way. Emmitt Smith has got fairly good hands for a running back, but when you get belted right in the middle of the back like that, it jars both arms wide open. You cannot hold on to a ball. Great anticipation by Wayne Haddix.
Boy, this free agent has really been a jewel of a find for Ray Perkins. 2nd and 10, complete to Awalt, and Awalt looks to have enough for the first down for Dallas. And indeed, he does. 11-yard pass play. 2 good receiving tight ends for Dallas, Jay Novacek and Rob Awalt. Both, of course, previously with Phoenix.
And they've been highly featured in this Dallas offense so far this year. Troy Aikman says, I like to throw to those tight ends. They're reliable. They've got good hands. He also told us yesterday, I want to get deep. We haven't gone deep often enough. We've got to stretch our offense.
1st and 10 from the 41 of the Bucs. Emmitt Smith trying to shake and bake, and dropped by Mark Robinson, the 7th-year pro out of Penn State, and a loss of 2 on the play. Ray Perkins says there's no player on his team that prepares better than Mark Robinson.
And the tight ends for Dallas, you've got to block well and you've got to catch well. Let's watch Awalt here, number 89, going against McCann's 52, sheds him, gets Eugene Marr, the linebacker, and cuts him down. That is a winning block by Rob Awalt. It was just the rest of the left side of the Dallas Cowboy line that broke down under the pressure.
2nd and 12 from the 43 of Tampa. Complete, short yardage, route run that time. As Dennis McKinnon, and McKinnon is suffering with a swollen knee. Only 1 yard gained on the play, and a few Bucs a little upset with Dennis McKinnon.
Well, you know, in that last time they played 2 weeks ago, Dennis McKinnon got an opportunity to get a shot on Wayne Haddix. He was blocking for Emmitt Smith going into the end zone. I'm sorry, I believe it was Awalt going into the end zone on a touchdown. Haddix relaxed. McKinnon hit him low. It was perfectly legal block, legit. Haddix will now never relax around the offensive player.
4 wideouts in on 3rd and 11. Aikman out of the shotgun with time, throws it complete, and has the first down. So Troy Aikman finding Jay Novacek. Big-time receiver, 13-yard pass play. So Dallas keeps the drive alive. 11:31 remaining in the first half. Dallas trailing by 3.
And Dallas seems now to have said, okay, you're not going to let us run the ball that much. Let's stretch this defense a little bit and open it up. He hit Awalt earlier. Now he goes to Novacek for a very, very key first down.
Aikman was also very candid about wishing that he had some set wide receivers to complement the tight ends.
Oh, exactly. He doesn't have real top quality wide receivers.
Smith, quality running back, but some quality linebackers also for the Bucs, as Winston Moss drops him after a 3-yard scamper.
To expand on that a little bit, there is not a real quality group at wide receiver for the Dallas Cowboys. They don't have any real big stars. They've got Alexander Wright, who's unproven. Michael Irvin coming off knee surgery. James Dixon is now a running back instead of being a wide receiver. Kelvin Martin is pretty good. McKinnon's a possession kind of guy. Rod Harris, you get my point. They don't have a great star group. It's very important for these tight ends to be the key to their passing game.
2nd and 8 from the pro set. Agee trying to find a hole. Not much of one there. 1-yard run. And Randy, as we saw the scores flash across the screen, a possible upset in the making. New York Jets leading Buffalo 14-zip. That in the second quarter play.
But you know, Buffalo's one of those teams, James, that is never really quite sure how good they are. They're a team, let's say like Tampa. Tampa thinks they're real good, but they're not completely convinced yet. Buffalo's got the swagger. They're positive they're good, but they're not willing to pay the price and go out every week and prove it. And that's why I think Buffalo's susceptible to big upsets.
3rd and 7 from the 25 of Tampa. 4 wideouts in for the Cowboys. Aikman going up top. Incomplete. The intended receiver out of the backfield was Tommy Agee.
Wayne Haddix and a group of defensive backs for Tampa there did a fine job because Aikman had all the time in the world, stepped up, and really had no one to fire that ball to.
So Ken Willis, the rookie out of Kentucky, will come on and attempt the field goal. His longest this year, 41 yards. This will be a 42-yarder. It's up. And it's no good. And Jimmy Johnson, you see the frustration there. This Cowboys trail by a field goal. When you take a look at the game summary, nothing really jumps out at you there, Randy, other than the fact that Tampa Bay has been starting with some decent field position, and they lead by only 3-0. And you made the comment that essentially these are pretty vanilla offenses that we're looking at today.
Oh, definitely. They're not offenses that really feature great passing games. They got 2 big-name quarterbacks, but both quarterbacks are yet to prove they're top-quality NFL players. What we're seeing so far today is defense bending but not breaking. When things get important and things get key down in the critical areas of the field, these defenses are really bowing up and stopping these offenses so far.
Bucs with the ball, 1st and 10 from their own 25. On the ground, Harvey. And Harvey running hard, picking up 8 yards. And Randy, not a bad job in spurts by John Harvey, who of course is replacing the injured Gary Anderson.
And Harvey on that play gained 7.5, 8 yards on that individual rush. But I can't overemphasize the fact this offense misses Gary Anderson. Where Harvey will make an 8-yard run, Gary Anderson, number 40 there, has the ability to make it an 18 or 28-yard run. He is electric. When he touches the ball, there's always a chance of a touchdown.
2nd and 2. Testaverde back to pass. Complete to Peoples, who holds on to the ball for the 1st down. Isaac Holt really nailed it. But Peoples showed with at least what the Raiders used to do with the stickum on their hands.
Well, he's got those tacky gloves on, which is very important for these wide receivers to hold on. But Holt reads the play as any good veteran is going to do. He could tell where Testaverde was going, and he unloads on Peebles, but Peebles is not about to let go.
Why tacky?
Why tacky? Because maybe sticky.
Okay.
Sticky make more sense.
1st and 10. Flag on a play as Harvey gets a free play and tries to run. Picks up about 7 on the play, and it looked like Dallas jumped on that play as John Harvey ran around the right side for about 7 yards.
And we're getting a little bit of this wonderful, hot, muggy Florida drizzle here in Tampa right now.
Just as I called for at the top of the show, be muggy and sunny all day, right?
And as usually happens, we have a conference on a simple call.
Offside, defense, 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
Well, they're not really quite sure who did it, but we have a very good idea. We believe it was Jimmy Jones. You'll see him right in here, take a jump across the line of scrimmage before the snap. Number 93. 97, I'm sorry, is offside, goes down into all fours.
First and 5 from the 44. Cobb
20-pound ball carrier.
Kenny Norton with a little help from Eugene Lockhart, minimizing the amount of yardage on that play, and the rain is coming down steady on the field. I talked about minimizing the yardage on the play. There was no gain on the play. I'd say that's minimum.
And actually, it's gone from a drizzle now to a pretty good downpour.
Well, Randy, who would this favor in terms of style of play?
The people in luxury boxes, because they're not going to get wet.
Testaverde decides to put it up. And deciding to drop Testaverde was Danny Stubbs.
And Danny Stubbs told us just yesterday, Vinny Testaverde does not go very well to his left, but when he bails out and doesn't have people open, he would rather go to his right. It's my job to maintain control. Watch Danny Stubbs. He's going to be coming up here against Taylor, the right tackle, and he's going to maintain his position on the quarterback. So Vinny, he's going against Ron Hall, the tight end. That's a mismatch, but Vinny has nowhere to go. Stubbs is controlling Vinny's right the whole way.
Brings up a 3rd and 22, a loss of 17 on the play. Testaverde back to pass and gets dropped again. Tolbert. Tony Tolbert comes in and sacks Vinny Testaverde. An 11-yard loss on the play. So Dallas with 4 sacks. Vinny Testaverde, a loss of 43 yards thus far.
As the rain comes down, it's good coverage downfield because Vinny early has good pass protection. Then Jeffcoat and Tolbert. Tolbert gets him low, number 92, and Jeffcoat gets him high. That's the kind of hit that can rack up a quarterback and cause lateral injuries to the knees.
Mark Royals, first-year player on to punt for Tampa. And barely gets it off, but a beauty as Rod Harris gets turned around, and it takes a Tampa bounce and roll down to the 23-yard line. A 52-yard punt by Mark Royals. Colorado's attack. The game with Orange Bowl implications. That'll be next Saturday at 2 o'clock. And right here, we've got a 3-0 ball game. Tampa on top with 5:57 remaining in the first half. Aikman, play action on first down. Throws it incomplete. And the intended receiver was Kelvin Martin. And Aikman, although he got rid of it, boy, did he feel the shot.
And he had to get rid of it early because he knew he had Davis 79 and he had Thomas number 51 who actually put the wood on him coming, and that really forced him to throw that thing short of Martin.
Roderick Thomas had an outstanding game against Dallas the last time with 3 quarterback sacks. 2nd and 10. Dallas from its own 22. Incomplete as it bounced off the hands of Alonzo Highsmith. And Highsmith expressing his frustration last week with not getting enough playing time.
Well, also in the passing game, Highsmith hasn't really been featured in a passing game since he was at Miami playing for the Hurricanes. He said, I went to Houston and didn't run a pass pattern the whole time I was there. He's having a tough time adjusting to this Dallas Cowboy passing offense. The run offense he's got down cold. It's getting used to pass patterns and where he fits in a passing offense.
3rd and 10 from the shotgun. Aikman falls and throws. They call it a sack? They do. A loss of 7 on the play. Bring up a punting situation for the Cowboys.
And a very alert play by a veteran referee, Jerry Markwright. Saw Troy Aikman's knees going down to the ground despite his efforts to throw the ball and marked him where he kneels.
John Cannon was the one who helped Aikman down to the ground. 9th-year veteran out of William and Mary. Mike Saxon on to punt. Willie Drury back for the Buccaneers. And Drury signals for the fair catch at the 43. So Tampa will start with excellent field position after that 42-yard punt.
Aikman, and he's just going to make Troy jump and trip enough to land right on the back of Mark Tuinei's leg, and they're calling that a sack right there. The knee is down on the ground, no matter what the intent is. And there's big John Cannon, a man, I think the word survivor fits the best.
And a positive thinker. First and 10 from the 43, its own 43, Tampa on the ground. Cobb ahead to the 45, a gain of 2 on the play, 5:06 remaining. And after a brief rain hits Tampa Stadium, it's clear again. Near capacity crowd back in their dry seats now. James Brown along with Randy Cross in Tampa on the strength of a 23-yard field goal by Steve Christie. Leads it 3-0. 4:46 remaining in the first half.
We've seen both offenses functioning in spasms and jerks. It's been really a defensive struggle inside the 30 towards the goal line. These defenses have bowed up and stopped them cold.
2nd and 8 from the 45. Testaverde fires a strike for the first down to Willie Drury. And Ray Horton on the tackle, assisted by Bill Bates. 13-yard pass play into Dallas territory.
Well, we talked about how important field position was to an offense or to a team, as well as time of possession. Look at Tampa. Tampa has started at an average of the 37-yard line, yet they only have 3 points. Dallas starting at their own 18. That is horrible field position. To have the ball on the 37 as Tampa has, it's inexcusable not to produce points.
Mark carrier to the near side. Danny Peoples to the top. Going back is Cobb. First and 10. Play action. Testaverde throws it complete to Peoples for the first down. The speedster from North Carolina State holding on to some good catches here.
And Dallas has stopped putting the pressure through the blitz on Vinny and giving him a chance to sit back and throw it. And he's starting to pick this Dallas Cowboy injured defensive backfield apart. Albritton, you see, chasing the receiver Peebles right there. Number 36 is slowed by a deep thigh bruise. It's hard to run full speed when your leg's hurting like that.
Actually tore a calf muscle in the preseason. He's in the slot now. First and 10. Ball at the 24 of Dallas. Testaverde complete for another first down to that man Peebles. 14-yard pass play. Well, Frank Pillow was a little upset with people starting and getting some action before him last week. My gosh, tough one now.
Well, earlier in the game, they were emphasizing Carrier, and we said they don't know who Pillow and Peebles are. I think Dallas has got it figured out. They now know who Danny Peebles is, number 83, a fine diving catch. But I think this reinforces what we talked about last play. Vinny Testaverde and the offensive coaches for the Bucs have got this Dallas defense right now figured out. As disciplined as it is, they need pressure on the quarterback. They can't stand up in the defensive backfield against a quarterback throwing the spots like Testaverde.
First and 10 from the 11, complete inside the 5. Testaverde to Peoples again. 7-yard pass play. And Peoples in some kind of shape being utilized on this drive with 2:05 remaining. And this will take us down to the 2-minute warning as Tampa leads it by a field goal, but threatening at the 2 of Dallas.
AT&T, the right
team at the 3 of Dallas, looking to try and score a touchdown this time. Jimmy Johnson's team trailing goal.
Well, we've mentioned that these defenses are really bending but not breaking so far in this drive. Dallas is at least cracking. I think it's critical for their chance in this ball game with a chance of a win at this point to stop them here and hold them to a field goal, not let them in the end zone. And the key to that is going to be filling all the gaps here. They've got to fill the gaps, stuff down the run, and get after Vinny.
Tampa can get a first down if they get to the 1. It's 2nd and 2, ball at the 3. Cobb. Ken Norton. And Vinny Testaverde, 4 out of 4 on this drive of 40 yards. Tampa Bay with 2 timeouts remaining. Dallas with the full complement of 3. 139 and counting.
Well, Testaverde and the Bucs have tested one time here in the inside of the Dallas defense. Fine penetration by Noonan and Norton. I'd look for them to either go outside with a sweep or a quick swing pass to one of the backs.
Out of the I formation, John Harvey, the tailback. Peoples wide open. Touchdown, Tampa Bay. It was a Testaverde to Peoples hookup throughout the drive, and appropriately so on the touchdown.
And this was like a classic case of, I got him, you take him, because nobody is even anywhere near Danny Peoples. Everybody wanted to blitz and go after Vinny. They forgot, we got to cover these guys.
And the point after by Christie is good. So Peoples with his first touchdown reception of the season, and Tampa moves out to a 10-0 lead. Closer for Tampa, they lead at 10-0 over Dallas with 1:19 remaining in the first. 57 yards, 3-4 plays, all involved Danny Peoples. 4 catches for 42 yards. Final, a 2-yard touchdown strike. Christie kicking off for the Bucs. Dallas, again, with the full complement of timeouts remaining. Tampa with 2. From the 4, Dixon. Flag on the play as Dixon takes it across the 40. So James Dixon with an excellent return. And there's a flag back near the 27-yard line. Ricky Reynolds forces him out of bounds.
This is going to be holding or illegal use of hands against the kick return team, against Dallas.
Illegal block, number 57 on the return, first down.
Vincent Smith looked to have his hand in the back of the Tampa Bay guy that was trying to cover the kick, and he didn't do it halfway. He did it right in front of the official.
Don't forget, coming up at halftime, Greg and Terry in New York with all the scores and highlights, and they'll bring us up to date with what's taking place around the league. They'll be coming up at halftime. So the Cowboys, instead of excellent field position, start from their own 10. First and 10. 4 wideouts in. 1:13 left in the first half. Aikman throws it complete and fighting his way near the first down marker. Novacek. 6'4", 235, 60-year player out of Wyoming. Play stop.
So they're calling this the first down.
First down. Well, a very favorable spot. Gives the Cowboys first down, so it's a 1st and 10.
Dallas has to get more vertical. They can't get them in 10-yard chunks. It's just not enough time.
Incomplete, intended receiver Kelvin Martin, as Novacek slipped on the play.
And Kelvin Martin, we discussed earlier, is the one real high-quality wide receiver that the Dallas Cowboys possess, and in this situation is where it's the most glaring. That Dallas is suffering not having quality wide receivers on their team. You get down in this 2-minute drill, you've got to have the wide receivers that can get there and make opportunities and make plays happen. You can't rely on tight ends in the 2-minute drill. You've got to have wide receivers.
40 seconds remaining in the first half. 2nd and 10. Aikman sacked. Look to be Winston Moss.
Winston Moss, number 58, sacked him, and Broderick Thomas, number 51, laid on him and talked to him about it.
Well, Tampa now has 20 sacks. Came into the game with a leading 18.
Thomas will come around this way, and they shall meet at Mr. Aikman. Moss is a very businesslike gentleman about it. He just makes the sack. But Thomas wants to lay on top of both of them and tell them what a good play it was.
And he will do that. That was a Dallas timeout, leaving both the Cowboys and the Bucs with 2 apiece. 3rd and 17 with 36 seconds remaining in the first half. Cowboys from their own 13. Aikman going up top, looking for Novacek. And Novacek. What a great attempt as he tried to steal that one. Good presence on the part of Novacek with an excellent attempt.
For you young players out there, you want to see concentration on a football? Watch Novacek. He never takes his eyes off it. He's got it once. He's got it twice. He's got it 3 times. Now it's out and it's gone. But he never took his eye off the ball in spite of bumping into people, people slapping the ball, people slapping his hands. In that kind of traffic, would have been a great catch if he'd have made it.
Came into the game 11th in receiving in the NFC, the only tight end in the top 11. Saxon. And Drury lets it take a bounce. And it takes a Dallas roll to about the 36 of the Bucs with 15 seconds remaining. A 51-yard boot by Saxon as Testaverde gets last-minute instructions from Ray Perkins.
A lot of the times you see teams just kind of fall on the ball. Ray Perkins and the Tampa Bay Bucs have a very conservative, very, very conservative image. Vinny's gone like no more than 20 yards downfield previously against Dallas. So far today, he's hit some good passes. I look for him to go deep, try to make a big play. It's not too bad. They need 30 yards to get into field goal range.
3 wide outs in. Testaverde dumps it off to Cobb, and Cobb tries to head to the sidelines, loses the ball, and it's recovered by Dallas. So Dallas recovers. Vince Albritton. And Albritton, who was questionable as a starter today because of a bruised thigh, comes up with the alert play with 5 seconds remaining.
The thing to watch here, though, is disappointing for the Tampa Bay Bucs, as this fumble is by Cobb. You got to see if Albritton had both feet in and possession. He's got it. I don't know from that replay whether or not he's got it. We'll take one more look at it. Watch 36 Albritton come in here. He's got to have the ball and both feet in. It's almost out. I don't think so. I don't think that was a fumble. I think that should be Tampa Bay's ball as a fumble out of bounds.
Well, Gary Markwright whistled to stop the clock and talk with the umpire, who I'm sure is in communication with the replay booth upstairs. Bob Beeks, of course, the replay official on site here today.
I'll say it one more time. The emphasis is on the fact that you must have possession of the ball, clear possession, and both feet inbound.
Well, if that's the case, then this one will be reversed then with 5 seconds remaining.
We'll see it one more time here, but remember, with replay, there are no such things as absolutes. They're never absolutely right, and they're never absolutely wrong, but it absolutely usually takes too long.
Well, they need an absolutely clear picture in order to reverse it. The picture must not have been very clear.
Well, they're showing on the big Jumbotron TV here in the end zone a replay from the far, far, far back where it does appear he had possession in time.
Aikman to Martin, and Martin out of bounds with 2 seconds remaining.
I don't understand this. Is this ball a little bit wet? It rained a little bit earlier, but the ball's popping out and then spurting all over the place.
That's the 3rd time someone has lost control of it.
And a long field goal for Willis coming up. It would appear to be about a 52-yarder he's going to have to attempt.
And keep in mind that he missed a 42-yarder earlier. 41 yards this year is his longest. This will be a 53-yard attempt by Ken Willis, the rookie out of Kentucky.
All conditions must be perfect on this play for this field goal to be good by Keith Willis. The snap must be good. The holder, Novacek, must have a perfect placement, because this is well, I believe, out of Willis's range.
That's kind of interesting. Gene Novacek, a tight end, holding. Is that a little unusual?
I think your guy with the surest hands that works the best with the kicker is the guy you have hold. Some teams use quarterbacks, some teams use punters.
Don't find many with tight ends, though, holding.
Dallas is blessed with tight ends with exceptional hands.
Now, there seems to be a little controversy on the field, and Jimmy Johnson's trying to understand it as the clock ran out before the ball was snapped.
Are they calling this an intentional fumble out of bounds and no call timeout by Dallas, so the clock did not stop?
Well, Jimmy Johnson wants to get an explanation on this.
Well, I'll tell you what, folks, it's too late now. These teams are going to be clearing off the field. At least one of the teams is clearing off the field. And Jimmy Johnson is not happy. Jimmy is saying, we call timeout. We call timeout.
And Jay Novacek was the one to have called timeout.
And Horton, number 20, is helping out Jerry Markwright. Johnson's trying to help him out. But I think it's a losing argument, Coach. See, this is one of those circumstances. A head coach like Jimmy Johnson is going to get explanation by letter. Now watch the clock in the lower right-hand side. Look at Novacek. He's calling timeout right here. He's going to call timeout, but he isn't getting it. They started the clock. Time expired. It won't do any good 3 or 4 days from now, but Jimmy Johnson will get a complete explanation of what happened just now by form of a letter from the NFL.
Well, part of Johnson's argument was correct. His players did signal timeout, but it's all for nothing at halftime.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Toyota's quality line of cars and trucks. Toyota, I love what you do for me. Northwest Airlines, serving over 220 cities in 20 countries on 3 continents. And by Coors Light, the one that won't slow you down. The Silver Bullet is the right beer now.
We're about to start the third quarter here in Tampa, Florida. Buccaneers leading 10-0. Dallas will receive. And clear weather once again prevailing after a brief rain shower in the second quarter. Christie boots it off for the Bucs. And Dixon will take it from his own end zone. And Dixon across the 20, the 25 to about the 29-yard line. So James Dixon with an excellent return, stopped by John Cannon. And the first half belonged to Tampa, statistically speaking, but Randy, one important stat is not there.
Exactly. You look at the total yards for Dallas, 66 yards. They've been very ineffective rushing the ball, but the big key in the first half, Dallas had the ball on almost 7-minute drives, 6 minutes and 55 seconds for 13 plays. Look, they have control of their offense, and Willis comes away and misses a 43-yarder. They got nothing out of it. Tampa spun it around on them and took it down for a touchdown.
First and 10 for the Cowboys. On the ground, Smith. And Smith running well, about a 7-yard, calling an 8-yard run by Emmitt Smith. Will bring up a 2nd and 2.
And now the Hurricane halftime report featuring the first.
And the Tampa defense has effectively shut down Emmitt Smith. Broderick Thomas told us, I swear they will not do this again. He is not going to get 121 yards. So far, he hasn't. I think it's very key for Dallas, though, to stay a little bit with this running game and keep Tampa off balance and off Troy's back.
Smith and Agee the back. This is Agee. And Agee with the first down, running hard. So Tommy Agee, third-year player out of Auburn, really playing well as he picks up 7 yards on the run.
And Dallas coming out here in the second half, still committed to the running game, want to get things going, and we'll see how things shaped up on that last run. Right in the middle, in the heart of where things happen. Stepnoski against Jarvis, number 95. Good block by Stepnoski. They get into the linebackers. You're not going to stop a back the size of Agee at 6', 225 without him getting a few yards once he gets all the way back into the linebacker area.
First and 10. Ball at the 44 of Dallas. Play action. Aikman going up top. And it's complete. Intercepted. Reynolds. I believe they're going to call him down by contact at the point of the interception, way back about the 7.5-yard line. It was a circus catch by Ricky Reynolds, number 29. It was actually a fine play-action pass setup by Troy Aikman and the Dallas Cowboys. Watch, you see Giesick, the right guard, pulls out, sells him on the play action. Thomas misses him on the rush, number 51. He chunks it downfield.
Look at Reynolds, stole it right out of the hands of Kelvin Martin, and he's down right there where the knee struck the ground. And Troy paid a little bit of the price. He gets smacked to the turf by Kurt Jarvis, number 95, the nose guard.
So Ricky Reynolds steals it from Kelvin Martin. It was, in fact, complete for every bit of a fraction of a second to Kelvin Martin. Reynolds alertly takes it away, and it's Tampa ball at their own 9. Pushing hard up near the 15. A good hard 7 yards earned on that play by John Harvey. As we take a look at Gary Anderson, who has yet to see any action today.
And I think from the Tampa Bay standpoint, they're almost like they're in the backed up offense. They've got to pound things out. You know, they don't have Gary Anderson. They have Harvey and they have Cobb. For Dallas, that long interception is just as good as a punt. We're talking field position here in the second half. Dallas must hold them inside the 20 and keep them from getting the first.
Second down. Bucs on the ground again. Gain of 5 for the first down. So the Bucs grinding it out, and John Harvey. And Ray Perkins says that John Harvey has good vision, slashing type of runner, a good but not a great receiver. But I'm sure the mark after today's game would be high, no matter how you look at it, for John Harvey. First and 10 for Tampa from its own 21. 12:04 remaining in the third. Tampa on top by 10. Testaverde, look out, and complete to Mark Carrier. And Carrier with an 8-yard reception, working nicely against Manny Hendricks.
And Carrier has learned this year, with people emphasizing his presence, he's got to work harder for a reception. And here he works extremely hard against Hendricks. Comes back with a sliding catch.
And Carrier, 6 feet, 185. Not a big target, but an effective one. Harvey and Cobb, the back. On 2nd and 2 from the 29. Testaverde. Incomplete. Off the fingertips of Frank Pillow, and that should have been a completed pass. Ray Perkins was talking before about how he had, well, you heard the official talking about 61 Tony Mayberry being an eligible receiver, backup center.
And in 3rd and short, they don't have Tony Mayberry in there to go long down the middle, down the seam. He's in there to block somebody and get some of that big body on somebody.
On 3rd and 2 out of the eye. Lawson. Make that Cobb. And Cobb looks to be injured on the play as he grabs the inside of that right knee. As he gained the first down yardage, but paid the price, Randy.
Actually, Ken Norton came diving up over the top and hit Reggie Cobb, it appeared, just as he landed, but could not hold on to him, and Reggie Cobb's momentum carries him forward. We'll take one more look at it here from the ground level. Watch Norton, number 51, the scraping linebacker, leaps over the top, puts his helmet right in the thigh. Yeah, could have a little bit of something tweaked in that right knee, the way he landed and twisted on that thing.
While the Dallas medical staff tends to him, we'll take a break. Be back in just a moment.
It's more than beautiful design and superb handling that have made Ford Taurus the standard by which other wagons are judged. It's every detail, right down to safety advances, like a supplemental driver's airbag and available anti-lock brakes. Because we believe that everything we put into Taurus wagon should demonstrate our concern for everything you'll put into Taurus wagon.
Or your copier gets the best of you. Get a better copier.
Guess what? You're invited to the Halloween party of the year. Miller Lite's big Halloween haunt.
Right, big man. 160 very lucky people will be flown to Universal Studios Hollywood.
Find its special can in 12 packs and cases of Miller Lite. It's your invitation to go.
Win 45,000 on the prizes. Details from a Miller Lite. It's gold.
Man, it's gonna be a scream.
And you see Reggie Cobb, number 33, running down up and down the sideline, obviously trying to shake off the effects of this right here. Watch that right leg land, hyperextend, and he bounces on it. It's little things like that, James. You can get a knee injury, usually the cruciate ligament inside the knee. And first and 10, live ball. Dallas recovers. So on the Tampa fumble, Dallas takes over with excellent field position. And Ray Perkins knows his team has just made a very, very crucial error. You do not keep a team like Dallas who's hanging on the ropes. They're waiting to get knocked out. You either knock them out or you give them a chance to stay in the game. And by Ken Norton there caused that fumble, number 51. Harvey let that ball pop loose, and Horton picked it up and sort of runs it downfield. He managed to stay in front of his blockers a lot better than he did run downfield. Ray Horton playing injured himself. A knee that needs surgery after the season. First and 10 for the Cowboys. Ball at the 26 of Tampa. Emmitt Smith looking to go outside. Now inside. And created his own hole that time for a 5-yard gain. So Emmitt Smith shaking and baking out of necessity that time. Well, Broderick Thomas, number 51, the left outside linebacker for the Tampa Bay Bucs, played that very, very well. But Emmitt Smith would not be tackled. He would not be stopped. And Broderick Thomas had to resort to actually grabbing him by the back of the jersey and sort of hanging on until help arrived. Emmitt Smith definitely, with numbers not like the previous meeting, 10 carries for 31 yards, second and 5. Ball at the 21. Dallas trailing by 10. Out of the eye. Smith. And Smith lunges toward the first down marker. They'll say his knee hit about 1 yard shy of the first down. Reuben Davis and Broderick Thomas in on the tackle. Dallas is staying very, very conservative here with their running game. Watch the pit framing. Watch this entire side of the Dallas Cowboy offense. Stretch things out, and Smith is able to come up here and get his first down. But Dallas is staying very conservative. Good lead block by Agee. He just dinged Thomas enough to get him around the corner. 3rd and 1. Smith has the first down. Winston Moss on the stop. Well, Emmitt Smith went home Friday night to Gainesville, Florida for the University of Florida homecoming festivities and was joined down there by Neil Anderson, the running back for the Chicago Bears, who has an off week. But, you know, Emmitt's used to running out of this I formation. And right now, Jimmy Johnson's got him running out of the I. They're flipping it right, and they're flipping it left, and that's the kind of thing he's used to doing. It usually scares a coach, though, when you flip the ball like that on 3rd and half a yard or whatnot, because there's too many things bad that can happen. Most coaches like to keep it between the tackles where it's nice and safe. You see Jerry Marks' bright signal right there, first down Dallas. Well, even up from this high, it looks to have been the first down before the measurement. So Dallas keeps the drive alive. 1st and 10. Ball at the 15 of Tampa. 8:47 remaining in the 3rd. Dallas trailing 10-6. You got to wonder what's happened to the Dallas tight ends. We haven't seen any passes to the tight ends in the last almost a quarter. Mark Tournay moved first, drawing Tampa. So this will push.
Number 71, offense. First down.
This will push the Cowboys back 5.
And judging from the jump that Mark Tuinei got and jumping off sides right here, number 71, he kind of jumps like this. He was headed that way. That play was a run. Dallas is going to blast another play up. He just sort of jumps up and then jumps back. But Tuinei's been bothered by an injured foot the last 3 or 4 weeks. But informed Coach Johnson, Coach, I'm ready to put the 100%.
First and 15 from the 20. Smith. Off right for about 4 yards. Winston Moss on the tackle.
And Dallas so far in this drive right here, since they got that key turnover, looks like they're the ones with a 10-0 lead, pounding the ball down on the ground and keeping that thing moving, not wanting to put the ball in the air and give them a mistake.
Well, you mentioned in the first half that Dallas had a sustained drive, Randy, but couldn't capitalize.
It's going to be very, very critical here. Look at that stat, 13 possessions. They've scored 10 times, but only 6 have been touchdowns.
On 2nd and 11. Aikman, this time, throws it complete to McKinnon. Inside the 10 to about the 8-yard line. An 8-yard pickup. They needed about another 3 yards for the first down.
They need to get right at the 5-yard line to get their first down. And Dennis McKinnon, number 85, there, caught that ball, wanted to turn, wanted to run downfield, but it's like his mind, his thoughts, and his intentions got about a half a second ahead of his feet because he went to turn and run, and the rest of them didn't move.
We'll call it 3rd and 2. Ball marked at the 7. Emmett Smith. First down. So Emmett Smith comes up with the extra yard, 3-yard scamper. Moss on the stop.
Now, we talked about it a few plays ago, this little flip play, but the key to this is the tight end. Watch the tight ends block. Novacek stays on the linebacker, stays on him, stays on Thomas, keeps his contact. Fine, effective block by Novacek on a future All-Pro, Broderick Thomas.
Now, this is Dallas's deepest drive in the last 2 games. Ball is on the 4. First and goal. And a mix-up between Aikman and Alonzo Highsmith. Or make that A.J. A loss of 2 on the play.
Well, it was great anticipation there by Kurt Jarvis, number 95, the nose guard for the Tampa Bay Bucs. It was such good anticipation, I was a little bit shocked we didn't see an offsides flag. Watch Jarvis jump and then leap into this hole and almost get to the exchange point between Aikman and A.J. He drives through Stepnoski's attempted block and tackles A.J. in the backfield.
Second and goal. Ball on the 6. First set for the Cowboys. Aikman. Intended receiver was Calvin Martin. Ball off a helmet of Wayne Haddix.
When you're having the kind of year that Haddix is having, plays like that happen. I mean, he's got 5 interceptions coming into this game. He's leading the NFL in interceptions. The Bucs are leading the NFL as a group in interceptions. Now watch this. The ball was just going a little bit short. That wasn't a great defensive play. Aikman just underthrew it. But when you're on a roll and things are going good, this type of thing happens. Right off the shoulder pad.
3rd and goal. Play pattern. Incomplete. Emmett Smith, the intended receiver. Murphy.
Kevin Murphy, number 59, hangs with Smith beautifully. Just gets enough of that ball to deflect the concentration of Emmett Smith and not allow that reception. Beautiful play by Kevin Murphy.
So Ken Willis will come on to attempt the field goal. And it's good. So Ken Willis with a 24-yard field goal finally puts the Cowboys on the scoreboard, trailing by 7.
and I switched to MCI. And you'd think AT&T would give me a break, right? But no. First thing is, don't you miss our great AT&T service.
Can we define great?
MCI guarantees I'll be happy with the service, and I get savings. Instant credits on wrong numbers, I heard. Great. Well, don't you miss our great operators. Do they think they have the monopoly on operators, too? And then he says, would you come back for AT&T savings? Well, I said, can you beat what I get with MCI? Just give me the facts. He said, give you, what?
Don't get pressured by AT&T. Get the facts.
What precision-built truck is also America's most popular value? What truck offers precise fits and finishes and a wider range of electronic fuel-injected engines? It's Ford Ranger, the precision-built truck that's widening the sales gap every day. The best-built, best-selling American trucks are built in Ford Tough.
Now, your IBM authorized dealer has an offer that carries a lot of weight. When you buy selected IBM PS2s, including some of our best sellers, he'll throw in quick credit, deferred payments, cash rebates, and to really get you going, great deals on IBM printers and over $600 of free software. You could call it an offer on a truly grand scale. For the IBM dealer nearest you, call 1-800-232-2300 and tip the scales in your favor.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? MCI, let us show you. And by America's favorite light beer, Miller Lite, the sole sponsor of the NFL Player of the Year Award.
The Sunshine Skyway connecting St. Petersburg, Florida with Bradenton, Florida. Beautiful looking scenes and good football taking place here inside, at least a close affair, 10-3.
I think it might be an NFL record, JB. 10 plays, 20 yards, 5.5 minutes for a field goal.
Wow. Danny Peoples. And Danny Peoples could not get past Alexander Wright, and Wright with some speed of his own stop what could have been a more dangerous return.
And that's when you know you've got a team where everybody has to play and contribute for you to be effective, because you don't see wide receivers on kickoff teams real often. Alexander Wright's had a hard time really getting into this offense from the standpoint of learning the offense, developing the confidence in his hands. But here you see a young wide receiver covering on a kickoff and doing it effectively.
And Gary Anderson seeing his first action in the backfield for the Bucs, and he gets the carry. Flag in the backfield as Anderson takes it across the 30 for about a 6-yard gain, and Gary Anderson, of course, suffering with a bruised calf.
That's going to be a hold against Tampa on somewhere on the right outside of the line.
Offense, first down.
And you got it, Ron Hall, the tight end.
Friday kind of bragged to us, you know, Ron Hall, you see 82 on your screen there, told us, I'm real good. I get the hands inside. Now watch him get the hands inside here on Jeffcoat. I'm sorry, on Danny Stubbs. No, he's not working on Stubbs. That's Tolbert, number 92. See, you got to get the hands inside. You got to block like that, but when the guy wants to turn and run away, you got to let go. He didn't let go, and the ref looked and says, that's not right. That's a penalty.
First and 20 for the Bucs out of the eye from their own 15. Anderson. And only gained 2 yards of that back. We'll make it 2nd and 18. Jim Jeffcoat on the stop. And Randy, I use the word good football game, if you like, close affairs.
That's right. This is the kind of game that Woody Hayes used to dream about in his sleep. Let's give it to the halfback on sweeps right, sweeps left, and run them up the middle. I mean, both these teams are being very, very conservative, and as conservative as they are, this game will be decided in the 4th quarter on turnovers and mistakes.
Willie Drury, 3rd receiver in for the Bucs. And complete to Ron Hall, picking up only 5 yards on the play. We'll bring up a 3rd and 12 situation.
This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the National Football League is prohibited.
On 3rd and 12, the Cowboys with their nickel defensive package in, 5 DBs. Testaverde. Incomplete to Drury, and boy, did Drury take a hit from Isaac Holt. Boy, a defensive back's dream to nail him clean and hard.
You know he feels bad about the drop, and you want to feel him feeling worse about the drop when he gets done with him. That was a great hit by Ike Holt. Watch at the end here. Peebles seems to relax a little bit as the ball comes out. He's looking at the ball. He doesn't see Holt. Woo! Man, that'll give you a denture check right there. You got anything loose in your mouth, it's coming out.
Now he's got to peel his number off the field as well. Royal. It's off a beauty. High. Now, Randy, I guess the question is, was that interference? It looked like Rod Harris was signaling for the fair catch. Close to 5 seconds hang time on that punt by Mark Royals, but no flag on the play. A 52-yard punt. Tampa on top by a touchdown.
When you're out street hiking, you better know how to read the terrain. First, trust your instincts. By all means, avoid distractions. Do your best to preserve the wildlife, because street hikers don't just walk, they hike. That's huge, Joe.
On Wall Street, fortunes are won and lost and won again before 10:30. Amid the halls of ivy, the best ideas often come and go before 10:30. And on the back lots of Hollywood, love often blooms and fades before 10:30. Which is why Federal Express delivers before 10:30 at more places around the country than anyone else. Federal Express, absolutely, positively the best in the business.
A crooked cop, a straight arrow DA in a deadly affair. Dennis Quaid, Ellen Barkin, and Roseanne's John Goodman, The Big Easy, tonight.
After that hit, do you think Peebles knows where he is?
You see him blinking a little bit there? That's not because stuff is in his eyes. That's because the picture's a little fuzzy. The contrast is a little off on his inner TV tube.
First and 10, Dixon into the game for Emmett Smith. Give him a breather. A 5-yard run straight ahead. Will bring up a 2nd and 5.
And that shows a lot of confidence by Jimmy Johnson. This is just a guy, number 21 Dixon, was just converted back over to being a running back. Converted into a running back. He was a wide receiver before. Kick returner, we see Emmett Smith. He's got to be a little bit winded. He might be used to this weather down here in Florida. But they're obviously giving him a rest, giving him a little blow on the sideline.
2nd and 5. Out of the eye. Dixon again. And Dixon running hard and fresh as he dives for the 3rd yard. We'll bring up a 3rd and 2 situation. John Cannon applying some pressure there, forcing him.
And Dallas seems to think they see something over on that left side of the Tampa Bay Bucs defense, because in the last 2 series, they've run at least 80% of their plays are the flip toss or it's a straight dive, attacking that side of the line that Peters brought to the comment.
3rd and 2. Ball marked at the 33. 1:58 remaining in the 3rd. Dallas trailing by a touchdown. This is Dixon again. And Dixon meets a wall by the name of Sidney Coleman. Hello.
And Coleman makes a play that was another 53. Harry Carson for the Giants. See him run here and watch him fill and come right through Emmitt Smith. You ever wonder what it is tackling through a running back? That is tackling through Dixon, number 21. Right through him. Was looking out of his ear hole that time after that hit. Mike Saxon back to punt. Willie Drury back for the Bucs. They heard that one back in Dallas. Drury from the 25. Maybe 3 yards. Max slowed up. A 44-yard punt, 3-yard return.
Guess what? You're invited to the Halloween party of the year. Miller Lite's big Halloween haunt.
Right, big man. 160 very lucky people will be flown to Universal Studios Hollywood.
Find this special can hidden in 12 packs and cases of Miller Lite. It's your invitation to go.
Oh, it's 45,000 on the prizes. Details from a Miller Lite. It's gold.
Man, it's gonna be a scream.
When you're on top, everybody wants a shot at you.
And you stay on top, you know you can't stand still, 'cause you don't know how, and you never will. Ford trucks, the best ever.
That's why Ford uses the latest in technology and engineering, working to make our trucks even better.
Ford trucks, the best ever.
The best-built, best-selling American trucks are built Ford tough.
You've heard it said before. It's not just what you say. It's how you say it. Laserjet printers from Hewlett-Packard. They'll get you noticed.
In Killarney, legend says take a deep breath after it rains and that fresh, clean feeling will last the rest of your journey. There's a bit of this in every bar of Irish Spring. Ah, the lost and fresh scent of Irish Spring. The Irish never quit.
The Bucs 4-2 start. Their best start after 6 games since 1981, bringing near-capacity crowds back here at Tampa Stadium. Not a pretty one, but the Bucs on top by a touchdown, and it is warm on the field. It was about 90 degrees earlier, and then it got hotter. You know what that was from? It rained a little bit. You got that humidity coming up, and then it all turned to steam, and it automatically made it 5 degrees hotter. From the 28, Tampa, 1st and 10. On the ground. First down, Cobb. 13-yard run by Reggie Cobb, who left out with an injured knee briefly, running strong now. Now watch here from the ground level. You'll see the penetration that happened. Lots of penetration, but nobody gets near him. Big gash in the defense. And Reggie Cobb obviously has recovered from that right knee being a little banged up, and Albritton's got to come all the way across to make the tackle, number 36. Under 30 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Tampa from its own 41, 1st and 10. Completes to Carrier, and Carrier steps out of bounds about 6 inches shy of the first down marker. We'll call it a 9-yard pass play.
9 yards on that play. Brings up a 2nd and 1 to go. Ball on the 29-yard line.
Gary Anderson comes back in. But that will probably be the last play of the third quarter. And that is the end of the third quarter with the score. The Buccaneers 10, Dallas 3. Our coverage will continue after this message from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS.
This is CBS.
Although Ford makes the best-selling truck in America, America's best-selling compact pickup, and now America's hottest-selling sports utility vehicle, Chevrolet says their trucks are winning. They obviously have a few screws loose. Take your choice, 1991 F-150 XLT Lariat regular cab or super cab with automatic and save $2,250. See your Texas Ford dealers. Ford trucks, the best never rest.
Sir, unlike most people around here, you don't use the GTE everything pages. Why is that?
Hop in. I spend 12, 15 hours a day in this baby, hunting down the goods and services I need. Now, if I were to use that book, everything I accomplish in this magnificent machine could be taken care of using a telephone. Somehow it's just not the same, is it?
People who want to simplify their lives use the GTE Everything pages. Those who don't.
You've been up in the air for hours. Now you got to make up the time. Aren't you glad Hertz is a faster, easier way to rent a car? #1 Club Gold. No paperwork, no stopping at counters, nothing to slow you down. You go straight to our Gold parking area, where your car is waiting, ready to go.
I'm gonna make it.
It's the fastest way to rent a car.
You'll see Cowboy highlights and post-game comments tonight on Ted Dawson Sports Station.
Ominous-looking clouds overhead here. Dallas, though, in pretty decent shape, only trailing by a 7, but statistically have not been doing the job.
Exactly. Dallas, 112 yards. I don't care how consistent that is. It's 56. 56 yards passing is pitiful for an NFL team.
Cobb. Flag on the play as Cobb runs for the first down with a whole bunch to spare, but there is a flag back at midfield.
And Danny Noonan's helping him out a little bit to indicate holding on Tampa. One thing you got to keep...
For 62, offense, second down.
There's Ian Beckles. Ian Beckles, the rookie out of Indiana. The one thing you got to keep in mind, James, here, Tampa has never beaten Dallas, and as badly as Dallas has played, Dallas is still in this game. It is 10-3, and they are by no means out of it. And Tampa, by not exploiting some of these opportunities they're starting to get, does nothing but let a young team hang and hang and hang and give them a chance to come back and beat it.
No doubt. 2nd and 11. Batted down. Incomplete as Jimmy Jones, the rookie out of Miami, got his hands on that one.
And Ian Beckles, number 62, he said the rookie out of Indiana, who was called for holding play before, did a mad dash for that deflected ball. He was going to be a star. He could see his name in lights. He was going to catch it and go the length of the field. But he was about 10 yards too slow.
Randy, just to embellish your point about Dallas being within striking distance, the defense says, hey, if we hold these guys to within 10 points, we've got a shot.
And look at Beckles here. Oh, well, maybe not 10 yards, 10 inches too slow.
3rd and 11. It's thrown complete to Willie Drury, who has the necessary yardage for the first down, but there is a flag.
We're going to have holding in the defensive backfield. I believe it may be on Horton, number 20.
Holding. Number 51, defense, first down, penalty decline.
My mistake. The hold was on Ken Norton. But, you know, to go back to your point, James, we were talking about the defense hanging and hanging in there. Eugene Lockhart, number 56, the middle linebacker for Dallas, told us, you know, we're realistic. We have to realize we hold a team to 10 points. We've got a great chance of winning. Mission accomplished so far. They've held this Bucs team with the momentum and with the stats edge, but they've held the Bucs 10 points.
And the implication was the offense has got to come through for us. 1st and 10, ball at the 45 of Dallas. Play action. Testaverde, sack. And that was sack of the afternoon. Give that one to Ken Norton.
That was Ken Norton coming back from that defensive holding play the play before. Probably fights through some blocks and gets himself a sack. You'll see Norton come from the left of your screen, number 51. Watch him fight his way through this block. 51 right there. Coming through the running back. It's not one of your classic, beautiful shots where they pick the quarterback up and bury him into the ground. But, you know, kind of like golf. It's not how, it's how many, and that's a sack.
Well, as I mentioned, the 5th sack of the day for Dallas. 15 on the season for the Cowboys. 2nd and 18. Dumped off to Gary Anderson. And Anderson using his quickness to stay alive and pick up the extra yardage. Gary Anderson. And boy, talk about a nightmare. Although only 2 yards picked up on that play, you hate to see a guy coming at you like that.
That was a good play by Gary Anderson. You know, we talked to Broderick Thomas on Friday, and he says, you know what the defense likes to do? We sit back on the bench, and we get our glass of water, and we look up at the Jumbotron, and we watch Gary Anderson make people look bad. And unfortunately for Jack Del Rio, number 55, the linebacker for the Dallas Cowboys, he was the guy this time that Gary Anderson made look bad.
Play is stopped on the field. Dallas timeout. So Dallas burns off one of its timeouts, leaving it with 2. We'll be back in just a moment.
For safety, America is coming home to Dodge. Dennis Mahonchak came back for the security of his new dynasty.
I'm very safety conscious because I have 2 small boys.
Tom Metz came back to the stopping power of anti-lock brakes. But it all really hit home when an airbag saved Rick Manley's life.
I do. I really believe it saved my life for a serious injury.
Welcome home, America. Come see what we're made of.
Now get big total savings on select Dodge cars and trucks, up to $4,100.
A6, hurry and you'll make it.
Delta Airlines ticket agent Sam Singletary knows how to get people moving.
Mr. Franklin, your bag.
But sometimes he has to show off a few moves of his own. The kind of moves that made him a first-string halfback. Sam Singletary shares a feeling with everyone at Delta. He loves what he's doing, and it shows.
Piece of cake.
Why don't we have as much quiet here as we had on the green?
Okay. Come on, the ball, and they have no reaction.
No, the way you get these ducks are going to have to wear helmets.
No, you just need happiness to enjoy life. Very deep down now. Very deep down.
Levi's 100% cotton Dockers. If they're not Dockers, they're just pants.
I look like my mom, but I act like my dad. Which is...
Well, be careful. I feel bad for your mom.
This NFL game summary is sponsored by Levi's 100% cotton Dockers. If you're not wearing Dockers, you're just wearing pants.
And Randy, as we take a look at the game summary, the third line is what really jumps out at you. Dallas, 6 points in the last 7 quarters.
That's amazing. That is futility offensively at its worst. Or maybe that's futility at its best.
Right now, Dallas is, in fact, upset, trailing by 7. Testaverde throwing Capillo in and out of the hands of Frank Capillo. And Randy, I got to ask you, do you think guys are thinking an awful lot going across the middle, especially after Ike Holt has delivered a few nice greetings?
Well, they think about that, but I think the key right now so far, James, we've got 3 turnovers against Tampa. We've got 5 sacks for this Dallas defense. Dallas offensively has played terrible, but the defense has kept them in the game, and Tampa is enabling Dallas to keep having opportunities to win this game. There's 12 minutes and 54 seconds left. I mean, Dallas could win this by 2 touchdowns with this much time left.
Mark Royals on to punt for the Bucs. From the 11. And not much more as Rod Harris upended. And Danny Peoples got down there quickly. A 41-yard punt by Mark Royals, a 4-yard return. And don't forget to join us next Sunday starting at 12:30 Eastern Time with the NFL Today. And that'll be followed by doubleheader football action. Most of you will see either Minnesota against Green Bay or Philadelphia at Dallas taking on these Cowboys. Then in Game 2, you'll see either a rematch of last week's thriller between the Redskins and the Giants, or these Buccaneers on the road against the San Diego Chargers.
You know, John Madden made a comment earlier in this week. He says it's not quite right with the scheduling thing. Dallas and the Redskins, that should be in December when it's cold and it's windy and it's terrible. They just played 2 weeks ago. It was a heck of a matchup. Next week will be a great matchup, but that'll be cold when they play.
Aikman to pass on first down to Johnston. Complete for a 5-yard pass play. As he crawls his way for an extra 3, we'll call it an 8-yard pickup on the play. 12:28 remaining in the game, as Randy mentioned. Dallas with ample opportunity.
to win this one, trailing by just a touchdown. And it's the first drive I can remember, at least in this half, maybe in the last two quarters, where Dallas has opened up throwing the ball and not running a sweep. 2nd and 2 out of the eye. Aikman audibly. Emmitt Smith. And Smith looks to scoot ahead for the necessary yardage for the first down. So Emmitt Smith, not big numbers on the day, but coming through with some key first down pickups. He's making consistent yardage. He came in yesterday and talked to us, and I said, well, what do you think of yours so far? Not bad, huh? He goes, what do you mean not bad? I only ranked 10th. Only ranked 10th in the league in rushing. That's where Emmitt, this is not the Southeast Conference. You're talking about the NFL. You came into camp late. Yeah, but I expect more out of myself. We saw that New York Jets-Buffalo score. We talked about that 14-0 lead for the Jets. 24-all right now. 1st and 10 out of the pro set. Ball at the 25 of Dallas. Cowboys trailing by 7. Aikman throws it complete to Novacek for the first down. And Novacek across the 45 to about the 46-yard line. So Jay Novacek with a 21-yard pass play. Here we got Novacek coming at tight end. He's going to get an inside release and head down the field. We wondered in the 3rd quarter, where had the Dallas tight ends gone? Where does Novacek go? He just goes in a little hole in the zone. These Dallas Cowboy tight ends are really masters at finding these seams in the hole in any zone defense. Well, the wide receivers for Dallas, only 3 catches for 15 yards, but the tight end is doing a great job. Aikman, incomplete, intended receiver, was a wide receiver that time, Michael Irvin. And Novacek that time, again, was wide open over the middle. Jimmy Johnson was pretty candid when assessing Michael Irvin, who, of course, coming off of IR with a knee injury. That's right. Everybody remembers Michael Irvin from early in his career with Dallas and at the University of Miami as being the flashy, speed-burning type of big play wide receiver. You know, Jimmy Johnson thinks he has the ability to be a good wide receiver. No longer, I believe, a great wide receiver. 2nd and 10. Smith. Maybe 2 on the play. I really found it kind of interesting, Emmitt Smith's response when asked about carrying the article around all week. We asked him, was he upset? And he snapped back, upset? No way. Yeah. Right. No, I'm not mad. Why? 3rd and 8. 6 defensive backs in for the Bucs. Aikman to Irvin. Caught momentarily, but dropped. And Ricky Reynolds pushes Irvin, and that push helped him to lose control of the ball. Here we'll see Irvin and Reynolds, 29 and 88 in blue. Reynolds just gets the push into the lower back of Irvin. Looks like he might have distracted him, but I think just like earlier in this game, that is a pass that Michael Irvin should have caught. So Saxon back on to punt for the Cowboys, and Drury back to receive for the Buccaneers. 9:43 remaining in the contest. Well, down it deep in Bucs territory. Kenneth Gant, a 46-yard punt by Saxon.
Now, Norelco has taken a razor that was seemingly perfect and made it better by giving you a new level of closeness without giving up any of our legendary comfort. Norelco's patented lift and cut system has been improved to lift each hair and cut it even closer without the blades touching your skin, giving you an even closer shave with the same incredible comfort. The new Norelco, a whole new level of closeness and comfort.
If you should take an unexpected trip and your mortgage is protected by Allstate Life Insurance, we can see to it that your family's home is completely paid for. So get some sleep. Or call an Allstate agent. You're in good hands with Allstate. Allstate doesn't give you an ordinary claim check. Ours lets you rate us. This helps us give you quality service. So next time you get a check from Allstate, we'd appreciate getting one too. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Introducing the new Dodge Stealth RT Turbo, dedicated to those who thought Ferrari Testarossa couldn't be beat 0 to 60.
The Stealth really smoking.
Who thought Porsche Carrera couldn't be out-cornered.
The Stealth just blew it away.
Who thought Lotus would save Europe today.
Stealth just plain beat it.
Introducing the new all-wheel drive Stealth RT Twin Turbo. Performance that's bringing America home to Dodge.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Dodge for performance, quality, safety, and value. Welcome home, America. Norelco Lift and Cut Shavers for a new level of closeness and comfort. And by Irish Spring Deodorant Soap. The Irish never quit.
Despite being back to its own 6 after the result of a 46-yard punt from Saxon, the fans cheering on the Bucs. 1st and 10, Bucs at their own 6. Testaverde going up top for Carrier, and it's complete for the first down, plus the whole bunch. A 37-yard pass play as Carrier has been burning Hendricks all day. You'd expect a conservative Ray Perkins offense to come out deep here and run the ball. What does he do? Immediately tosses it out deep to his #1 receiver, Mark Carrier, who's got definitely a step on the cornerback right there, Hendricks. And watch Testaverde take a drill from Danny Stubbs right in the back, but Stubbs did not follow through. Ball at the 43 of Tampa, 1st and 10, 9:07 remaining in the game. Cobb on the ground, gets back to the line of scrimmage. It might be a little too early to really put your finger on a specific play, but that one play may have won the game for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, enabling them to get out here. They might not score here. They might not get another first down. But now they punt, and they pin Dallas deep. Dallas then has to go the whole length of the field. While Tampa angling to become the first team not to be swept thus far. 13 head-to-head series matchups this season, all have been sweeps. Second and 10. Complete to Drury for yet another first down. Boy, that thing about the sweeps, too. 13 sweeps so far this year. I mean, look at one, for instance, Tampa. Early in the season, plays Detroit almost back-to-back, like Game 2 and Game 4, and sweeps them fast, gets them out of the way early. It seems teams are playing each other, especially interdivisional games like this, are coming in quick bursts. They're not playing once from the beginning of the year and once way at the end of the year. They're playing like every other week. 1st and 10 from the 44 of Dallas. 4-yard run over the left. When you talk about those sweeps, Giants over the Dallas Cowboys, Bucs over Detroit, you mentioned, Raiders over Seattle, San Francisco over Atlanta, Chicago over Green Bay, and Washington over Phoenix. And boy, has Buffalo come back to tie that one up. And the clock continues to tick here. 7:12 remaining in the game. 2nd and 6. Ball at the 40 of Dallas. Oh, picked off. Holt. Touchdown, Dallas. Well, Randy, you called it. Dallas hanging dangerously close throughout, and Holt
picks off his third interception of the season. He has all three for the Cowboys. He is Dallas's interceptor so far in 1990. But what you have to really watch here, watch the reading of Vinny Testaverde's eyes. Vinny never takes his eyes off that receiver. That's a veteran number 30 Holt. He knows what's coming. He's seen the formations. He knows the tendencies. He dives in front of the receiver, people, and he's gone. Forget it. That was a case of great study habits by a veteran. He knew what was coming. He saw the breaks. He saw the formation. He knew there was only one option. And he knew where he had to be to make the play. The man out of Alcorn State. And boy, talk about setting up a receiver all day. Randy, you mentioned it, baiting him. And came through big. And this play, for some reason, is being reviewed upstairs. I would think if they want to review something, they'll be looking at the fact on the sideline how close Holt might have got into stepping out of bounds.
After further review, the play stands. Touchdown.
Look at Vinny. He's looking to the right the whole time. He throws a floater, and Holt is there to get it. Does he go out of bounds? No way, Jose. He is gone. Holt wasn't really sure who was chasing him, but he wasn't going to go on a straight line and give anybody a chance to get him. And Ken Willis with the point after is good, and we've got a tie ball game. So Isaac Holt with the first interception return for a touchdown since Danny Noonan did it in 1988.
Working to be the best they can be. Teammates, sponsored by the U.S. Army. When the Washington Redskins needed yardage, they relied on a mighty offensive line. Tackles Joe Jacoby and George Dart. Guards Russ Grimm and Mark May. And center Jeff Bostic blasted a pass that led clear to the Super Bowl. Together as teammates, they were the original Hogs, who rooted him out for running back John Riggins and made the Redskins the best they can be.
A Ranger never takes the easy way out.
You're reaching deep inside you for things you've never known. Go!
That's why getting into the Rangers is tough, and the training is tough.
All that you can be.
So it makes me feel like I'm part of something really special.
All that you can be.
And I'm not the only one.
Introducing the new Dodge Stealth RT Turbo, dedicated to those who thought Ferrari Testarossa couldn't be beat 0 to 60.
The Stealth really smoked it.
Who thought Porsche Carrera couldn't be outcornered.
The Stealth just blew it away.
Who thought Lotus would save Europe today.
Stealth just plain beat it.
Introducing the new all-wheel drive Stealth RT Twin Turbo. Performance that's bringing America home to Dodge.
See Ray Perkins there consulting with his quarterback, Vinny Testaverde. Testaverde making sure everything's okay and Vinny's cooled down. That can be like a boxer getting hit with a big punch. You want to make sure the guy isn't shaken. If his confidence is shaken, it'll show on the next series, and Ray Perkins doesn't want that. And I'm sure embellishing the point you made about not looking at receiver that hard. Ken Willis. From the 3, Danny Peoples. People stopped at about the 22-yard line. So a 19-yard return by Danny Peoples. Coming up tonight on CBS, they hate us, and we don't much like them, but we need each other. If war breaks out, how much can we count on our old enemy, Iran? Mike Wallace from Tehran tonight on 60 Minutes, and that'll be followed by Angela Lansbury and Murder, She Wrote, and the CBS Sunday night movie, The Big Easy, with Dennis Quaid and Ellen Barkin. First and 10 from the 22, Tampa. On the ground, Gary Anderson. Anderson, flashing move, picks up 8+ on the run. Not bad for a guy with a bad right calf, huh, James? And a calf that you teased about a lot. Not a big one, huh? I gave him a little bit of a bad time. You know, we saw Bubba Grimes, Randy Grimes, our center, came in and talked to us. He had a great big bruise on his leg. It looked terrible. You see him blocking there? He's doing a good job. Anderson gets in there and makes his run. Anderson says, well, I got this bruise. You can't really see it, but it's down inside my calf. It's like, oh, poor baby, you got a bruise. Second and 1. 6 minutes remaining in the game. Cobb, the ball carrier, and Cobb backs his way into the necessary yard for the first down. So Tampa keeps the drive alive with 5:46 remaining in the contest. Well, you actually teased him and asked, what calf does he have? He is not a big man talking about Gary Anderson. And as a matter of fact, he made that point. He says, I'm not a powerful type runner, as if that was a surprise. Well, Broderick Thomas said the first time he saw him, I said, this guy's going to get killed. He can't last the whole year. And he figures out why. Guys don't get clean shots on Gary Anderson. First and 10 from the 35. Testaverde unloads it under pressure, and a flag on the play. Robert Williams was covering Mark Carrier, and he was also pushing him downfield past the 5-yard limit. And Randy Robert looks like he's saying, hey, I was going for the ball too. I was looking back at the ball. He went for the ball after he pushed him, though. That was the problem.
Pass interference. Number 20, defense. Automatic first down.
I think they mean number 23. They're calling it on Horton. But we'll see Williams, number 23, working here right now. He's making contact. That's past the 5 yards. Now he's playing the ball. Contact, playing the ball. Flag, tough luck, Robert. I think we got that one. 5:16 remaining. First and 10 for Tampa at the 45 of Dallas. Completes the haul. First down. We've got a tight one here in Tampa Stadium. Over 74,000 strong. On hand to watch the Bucs, who are sitting in second place in the NFC Central, take on the Dallas Cowboys, a rematch of 2 weeks ago. The Cowboys won 14-10. We got a tie ball game here, 10-10. James Brown along with Randy Cross. And Tampa is showing the poise of a team that is 4-2. They are moving the ball downfield. Vinny threw a bad pass that resulted in a touchdown. There's been no panic. There's been nothing out of the ordinary. This is business as usual. They're looking like a winning team going for a touchdown. 4:25 remaining. First down, Anderson. Flips, flag on the play. And Gary Anderson couldn't find his footing on a wet field. And wet because it did rain for about 5 minutes in the second quarter of today's game.
Holding, number 72, offense, first down.
Rob Taylor, the fifth-year veteran out of Northwestern. What does the team do when you compliment them for poise and moving the ball down in a professional manner? They probably go 10 yards backwards and get a penalty. Well, Randy, I know the press was really on Ray Perkins here in Tampa for being so conservative in his play calling and lack of passing in the first meeting with Dallas. Well, he hasn't been any more or less. I mean, he's been actually a little bit more conservative except for a couple of plays. Well, he definitely threw more than 5 times in the first half here. Testaverde back to pass. Well, now, I know, is this a live ball? I've seen no signal. Gary Markwright is waving it off. Gary Markwright looked back to one of his crew members and finally signaled the play dead. And the Dallas players did the right thing by continuing with the play. There was no whistle. Well, I know a few pitchers who would like to have that kind of throw in their arsenal. The only problem is, though, in in baseball, this is referred to as a balk. Watch this. I'm going to throw it. I'm going to throw it. I didn't mean it. Took his foot off the rubber and still lost control of the ball. Well, as much as pitchers try to experiment to get the ball to do funny things, that they'd like to see happen, not the ball. Nonetheless, it'll bring up a 2nd and 20 for the Bucs. Ball at the 43 of Dallas. 4:15 remaining, all tied at 10-all. Complete. takes it down to the 30. Well shy of the first down marker. And for an NFL Today, let's check in New York with Greg Gumbel.
All right, JB, at the Astrodome in Houston, Steve Walsh finally cracks that Houston Oilers defense. A wide-open Hobie Brenner pulls in the 31-yard touchdown catch. Fourth quarter, Houston's lead over the Saints is now 10 at 20-10. Let's go back to Tampa. JB and Randy.
All right, Greg, and here we have a tie score and a bit of worry as Vinny Testaverde down on the field having grabbed that left ankle of his. And he was stumbling a bit in the first quarter after a sack, and this looks to be a bit more serious as we take a look at Chris Chandler, third-year quarterback out of Washington, warming up. Warming in place. Vinny came into the game last week against Tampa Bay, hobbled by I believe it was a turf toe. He may have gotten that bad toe stomped on. Initially, it looked like he was holding his shin, but then he is looking like he's stepping on his foot. Watch this. He's holding this foot right here. Let's see if it gets stomped on. Oh, right there. It looked like he got that thing stomped on pretty good from the back. It would appear he was hit from the back, either in the back of the leg or stepped on right here by Lester Brinkley. You're going to see right on the outside. He's going to come all the way around and get Vinny Testaverde from the back. Right there, Lester Brinkley, number 63. First-year guy out of Mississippi. And Chris Chandler comes on to the cheers of the 74,000 strong here. 3rd and 7 situation for Chandler with 3:48 remaining in the game. Ball at the 30 of Dallas, all tied, 10 apiece. Out of the shotgun, high snap. Complete for the first down. Frank Pillow. What a way to come off the bench. A 23-yard pass play from Chandler to Pillow. No warm-up, took a couple snaps, tossed a few short balls there, gets a high snap to break his concentration, but lays a beautiful spiral right into Pillow's arms. You know, hasn't played in a while. Is he worried about a pass rush? No big deal. Never takes his eyes off his guy. He looks up, trips again. Grace under pressure. First and goal. Ball at the 7 of Dallas. Anderson ahead for maybe one as the clock continues to wind down. 3:23 and counting. Whether they get a touchdown here or not, it's going to put incredible pressure on a Dallas offense when they get the ball back. Like we discussed earlier, Dallas has very, very little help from the receivers. They're going to get the ball back behind. They'll probably have, heck, at least 80 yards to go, and they'll have only 2 timeouts when Dallas gets the ball back. Tampa with its full complement of 3 timeouts. 2nd and goal. Ball at the 6. Peters in motion. Anderson, the ball carried. Dropped in the backfield by Jimmy Jones. A loss of 1 on the play, and Jimmy Jones. The ball is loose. Did they say it's Dallas ball? We haven't seen a signal yet. It looked like it was dropped on contact. And that's exactly what they call down by contact, as Jimmy Jones, all 6'4" of them, stretched and grabbed them in the backfield and dropped it. And this play is being reviewed upstairs. And Dallas has called a timeout. That will leave the Cowboys with 1 timeout. Now watch Jones right here. He'll cut through, make a big play. Now watch Eugene Lockhart. He's going to get right in here. He's the guy who's going to end up with the football. Watch the big leaping move. Big play by Jones, number 97. Definitely down by contact. That is no contest. Good call.
Dallas, this is a 40-second timeout.
So again, by way of review, Dallas, Jimmy Johnson, left with 1 timeout. Tampa Bay has 3 timeouts. I think that's a critical error on the part of the Dallas Cowboys, wasting a timeout in that circumstance. They're looking at probably being behind soon here, either by a touchdown or by a field goal. Why spoil a timeout now when your offense is going to need it when they get the ball back? And Ray Perkins, the tactician, holding on to his. And just for your information, during that time away, there was no replay by the officials. They hung by the down by contact call, and it was a 40-second charge timeout to Dallas, leaving them with 1 timeout. Now here's why it's down by contact. Jones dives over the top, number 97 down now. Ball is out there.
And what did happen, Randy, is you saw the field umpire actually talking to his mic to tell upstairs, we made the call down here on the field. 3rd and goal, ball at the 7. Dallas offside, free play for Tampa. Touchdown, Tampa. Willie Drury.
Dallas offside, and Jeff Jeffcoat, number 77. Let's hear it from the referee, Jerry Markwright. Well, I guess the signal will suffice for Jerry Markwright. It's being called motion against the Tampa offense. Watch the left side of the line to be on the right side of the screen for movement. Definitely, Paul Gruber reacted to the jump of Jeffcoat. Gruber should have stayed still. It was motion on Gruber, number 74, the left tackle.
Makes it 3rd and goal, but the play is being stopped.
Return the game clock to 2:31. No play. Put the time back on.
Well, let me tell you, the clock has been a factor in this game today, both in the first half and now. That first half play when the clock should have continued on the fumble out of bounds. And 4 seconds haven't expired now, but the officials got it back. It's 2:31 remaining.
Tampa would love a score here. The last thing they want is a sack or a turnover.
Testaverde, make that Chandler drop. Tolbert. And I mentioned Testaverde, and let me give you an update. It is his left toe, the same one that was injured in the last Dallas game that will keep him out of the contest this afternoon. So Steve Christie will come on to attempt the field goal. He's 6 of 6 this season for field goals under 32 yards. But before he gets a chance to attempt the field goal, we're at the 2-minute warning. We'll take a break. Ball game knotted at 10 apiece.
Bit by bit, putting it together. Piece by piece, the way to make an ideal work. Every moment's contribution, every detail plays a part. Just a vision, no solution. It all depends on execution. Putting it together, that's what counts. Ounce by ounce, putting it together. Putting it together.
Behind every great accomplishment, there is always a document. A document that bridges the gap between what can be and what will be.
Putting it together, putting it together, putting it together.
Xerox technology helps people transform ideas into documents that change the world. Faxing, scanning, copying, publishing. Xerox, the document company.
Putting it together. Putting it together.
For me, it's the perfect truck.
Jim Ortballs had a Ford Ranger.
It will handle a load. It will get up and move.
Brian Thompson came home from Toyota.
I like the Dodge Dakota the best.
It just makes me feel good to drive it.
The mid-size Dakota, now available with V8 power.
There's no substitute for cubic inches.
And more payload than any compact on the road.
America, it's about time you gave me something that I needed.
It's a good, sound truck.
Welcome home, America. Come see what we're made of.
I bought the Dodge. Just feels like quality.
Tie ball game, 10-10, fourth quarter action, 2 minutes remaining. And Randy, you think that maybe Jimmy Johnson made a critical error by calling a timeout a little sooner than needed.
Well, they'll have one timeout when they get the ball back. But right here, you got to talk about coming after this kicker. You got to see pressure and go for a block.
31-yard field goal attempt, and it's good. So Christie nails the field goal. That puts the Bucs up by 3 with 1:56 remaining. Dallas's drive coming up.
Walk into a television showroom, and someone will probably try to sell you a set with a foreign name on it. Before you see their choice, ask to see yours. Ask to see the first TVs that combine digital video and audio, with a performance to back it up. Ask for picture-in-picture with triple flashback. Ask for a single remote that can learn to run everything. Ask to see a Zenith. For true innovation in television, quality never looked more like a Zenith.
I'll take it out. What a great job by the Tampa Bay Bucs, led by head coach Ray Perkins right there. Vinny Testaverde threw an interception. They took Isaac Holt, takes 64 yards for a touchdown. They get the ball back. They show the poise of a team that has a 4-2 record and should be considered among the elite in the NFC. They drive nearly the length of the field, down for a short field goal to go ahead. Christie boots it to Dixon, and he decides to down it and bring it out to the 20. And a reminder that coming up at the conclusion of this game, the post-game show, Greg Gumbel and Terry Bradshaw out of New York will bring you up to date on all the scores and highlights from around the NFL. That'll be the NFL Today post-game show at the conclusion of this game. In the meantime, Troy Aikman comes on with 1:56 remaining. Dallas with the ball at its own 20, trailing by a field goal. If I'm Tampa, I make sure I got somebody covering Kelvin Martin and keeping an eye on the tight end and make those other guys for Dallas beaten. Incomplete. It'll be 2nd and 10. And Dallas in that play had an all-out protection on. They kept the running back in the block. They kept in Novacek, the tight end, the block. And they still got pressure on the quarterback. Aikman signaling to the sideline. Looks like he's going for the shotgun. 2nd and 10 from its own 20. Did they call it complete? They did. Good enough for the first down. Michael Irvin with the reception. Ball at the 34. Of Dallas with 1:30 remaining. They are still at least 45 yards short of being within field goal range for Saxon. Incomplete, intended receiver, Jay Novacek, defended by Wayne Haddock tightly. And keep in mind that Ken Willis's longest field goal this year, a 41-yarder. He missed a 42-yard attempt earlier. And to kick a 42-yarder, they'd need to get the ball down to the 25-yard line. That's 41 yards from where they are right here. They've got 1 minute and 21 seconds, and they have one timeout remaining. You see Willis, he's
thinking of nothing else but getting a chance to tie this game up and send it into overtime. 2nd and 10. Aikman. A wide open Alexander Wright. Overthrown. This is a play. If Troy Aikman's the quarterback people think he is, if he is a franchise player and he is a great quarterback, a couple years from now, Troy Aikman makes this play, and this game is about over because Wright should take this ball in for 6 because there's nobody around him. 3rd and 10. 1:14 remaining. Complete for the first down to Jay Novacek, and Novacek dragging 2 Bucs with him near the out-of-bound lines, but did not get there. The clock continues to run. Under a minute to play. Great individual effort by Novacek there, and how can you not keep the tight ends from Dallas in your grasp, in your control? If you got to hold them, but you know Aikman's got to go to the tight end. Aikman running inside the 30 to about the 28 for the first down. Wayne Haddock's on the tackle with 30 seconds remaining. 31 seconds, and finally a timeout called. Now, Randy mentioned that Dallas would have to get it down to the 25 as Willis's range is 41 yards, has been his best. Aikman knows his position. He knows he has limited timeouts in one. He's got to get field position and gain the yards. Tampa makes a bad error in dropping off that fast against a quarterback that can run the ball. And Aikman gets it down to the 28. That leaves his kicker with about a 45-yard field goal, which is definitely still in the outer limit of Willis's ability. But Dallas has just burned off its last timeout with 31 seconds remaining. And that run by Troy Aikman was the longest rush of the day for Dallas. No timeouts. You're talking about sideline padders exclusively. They have no other choice outside of taking a shot down into the end zone. The passes must be to the sideline. Home run ball. Touchdown, Dallas. Michael Irvin. Get out the brooms, folks. The sweep may be complete. We may have 14 out of 14. And a late flag on a play for a celebration. So Aikman making up for the overthrow of the rookie Alexander Wright, and comes back to find Michael Irvin, the third-year receiver out of Miami.
After the score, we'll have a 5-yard penalty against Dallas on the kickoff.
And, of course, that 5-yard penalty on the kickoff will be because of the end zone celebration. Excessive show of personality by the Dallas Cowboys and Michael Irvin. Excessive show of personality. I think that play certainly merited it. Willis on for the point after. It's up, and it's good. So the Cowboys move out in front on the strength of that touchdown strike from Aikman to Irvin and lead it by 4. And that is the kind of play Dallas fans have expected out of Troy Aikman since the day he was drafted. They want to see that big blonde-haired quarterback stand back there and sling him to victory. Here's what he does. Michael Irvin's back off IR, the knee feeling good. He's in the end zone. We're talking 6 points. As big a play as this is for Dallas, James, this might be even a bigger play for this Tampa Bucs defense or Tampa Bay team for 1990. This throw is absolutely perfect. How can you let a receiver behind you in this situation? It is absolutely incredible. I mean, not only is Mark Robinson, number 30, there, but also, we talked about earlier in the game, Troy Aikman wanted a chance to get after Rodney Rice. On the last possible play, Dallas had a chance to go after Rodney Rice, number 31. He let Irvin go after him all by himself. So I know a lot of Dallas fans probably feel good about that after hearing Terry Bradshaw, the NFL Today, say that Dallas should not have traded Walsh, but Aikman instead. Dallas again with no timeout. Tampa with 3. With 23 seconds remaining and trailing by 4. A touchdown only can do it. You see an onside kick. Low scribbler. No, it's up. From the 8. Cobb. And a flag on the play as Cobb gets it up near the 25. Looks like an illegal block right here. 5 seconds burned off the clock on that play.
Are you okay? Nice work.
I think that says it all as Testaverde.
That's the one. One back. 10 yards. First down.
Vinny out with that injured left big toe. Stepped on earlier by Brinkley, number 63 for Dallas. And Chandler here has got all 3 timeouts. He has 18 seconds left. He's left with one option. Home run. Put your wide receivers out on one side of the field and let them all go long. Pass batted down, incomplete. 14 seconds remaining. Will bring up a 2nd and 10 for Chandler. That ball batted down by Billy Bates, number 40, playing that middle linebacker in the nickel defense. Just followed Chandler the whole way, saw where he was going to throw it short and underneath, and batted it down. And don't forget, coming up at the conclusion of this game, the NFL Today postgame show in New York. Greg Gumbel along with Terry Bradshaw. And it'll be interesting to hear Terry's comments about Troy Aikman. This crowd and this Tampa Bay team seems to be in shock. The people are just sitting here. They can't believe it. I don't think the Bucs can believe it. A lot of time. And intercepted. Bates. Bill Bates. The special teams captain with the interception. And Dallas will maintain a perfect record over Tampa, having won 7 straight. You trying to get first downs here, or are you trying to win a ball game? Why do you dink it short like this? Throw it for a home run. Make something happen down the field. Make them get a pass interference. Make something good happen. That's ridiculous. In every game that Tampa has lost this year, they have either been tied or in the minus column in the giveaway takeaway category. And this will be number 3, barring a miracle. Now, I mentioned earlier, James, this could be a critical to crushing blow for this Tampa Bay Bucs team. They had so much confidence, so much exuberance, and they are so young. To lose a game like this that they had easily in hand to an opponent they should have easily beaten is not only inexcusable, it may be something that will not leave this team for the rest of the year. Delay of game called on the Cowboys, and of course you will see Troy Aikman get down in what we call the win the game position, down on one knee to run out the clock. And the Cowboys keep the record intact, where Tampa has never beaten the Cowboys. Cowboys have made it 8-0 against Tampa. And for the Cowboys, they had lost 6 consecutive games on the road. They snapped that streak and improved their record to 3-4. And the Bucs, failing to gain any ground on the first place Chicago Bears, dropped to 4-3. so for Randy Cross. This is James Brown saying so long from Tampa Stadium, where our final score is Dallas 17, Tampa 13. Coming next is the NFL Today postgame show. CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League continues after this.
Welcome to the postgame show, everyone. I'm Greg Gumbel, along with Terry Bradshaw. The game that you just watched in Tampa was a pretty good one, I would say.
Not a bad game, and the thing we said in the pregame show about Aikman having to throw the football down the field was the very thing that he did in the fourth quarter to win the football, Greg, was get the football 15 to 20 yards down the field. That's where the seams are, and to win this game, that's exactly what he did, and then got the big touchdown to Irvin in the corner at the end of the game.
Right off the top, let me ask you how a receiver gets behind the secondary with under a minute to play, knowing that the offense needs a touchdown and not a field goal.
What happened was the weak safety's responsibility is the deep third, but the first thing that corner to his side has to do is to jam the receiver, hold him up, and slow him down, allowing time for the safety to come over. That time, the Tampa Bay's right cornerback did not make the jam on Irvin. Therefore, Irvin got a clean sweep, and he beat the safety to that area, allowing Aikman, who has a strong arm, to drill the ball down into the corner. The safety, he's going to be blamed for it, but it started with the corner not giving him the good jam.
Yeah, interesting contrast, too, because 2 weeks ago it was Dallas running the football and doing it very effectively. Right now, let's send you back to Tampa Stadium, where Troy Aikman is standing by to talk with our James Brown and Randy Cross. Gentlemen.
Back here at Tampa Stadium, where the Dallas Cowboys have come through with a 17-13 victory. And, Randy, I go back to the point that you made, that as bad as Dallas had been playing, they were still within striking range.
The Dallas defense let that Dallas team hang in long enough to win the game, but they had to have a little help from Tampa. Tampa let them hang, and Tampa gave them the chance to win.
All right, and joining us now is Troy Aikman down on the field. And, Troy, it was your pass to Michael Irvin that pulled it out. How nervous did you get as badly as you guys are playing through most of the game?
Well, I didn't get real nervous by the way our defense was playing. They kept us in ball games all year long. They certainly did so today. We felt that if we just hung in there and continued to go out there and just execute and play, good things were going to go our way as long as our defense kept us in it. They got the interception for a touchdown, and then we're right back in the ball game.
Troy, had to be nice for you after you overthrew Alexander Wright, something that I know you wanted back. You got that opportunity. Walk us through the play where you connected with Michael Irvin on the winning score.
Well, it was 3 streaks down the field. We felt like their safeties had been overplaying. They were trying to read me and read my eyes. We knew that coming into the ball game. We took a shot earlier in the ball game and missed it. On this one, I was looking strong, trying to get the weak safety to cheat over, and he did so, and we were able to fit it in there.
Troy, Randy Cross right here. You mentioned to us yesterday you wanted the opportunity to go after Rodney Rice, number 31. Was that an example there at the end of the game?
Well, that was one. We just felt like we needed to make him play. He's an outstanding player, but he had been squatting on a lot of our routes, as all the other players have been as well, and they were forcing us to throw the ball down the field, and we felt like we could get one on him, and we were able to.
All right, Troy, congratulations on an impressive come-from-behind victory, and good luck to you next week.
Thank you.
And let's go back to New York and Greg Gumbel.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much. Meanwhile, at RFK Stadium in Washington, the Redskins are leading the Philadelphia Eagles by a score of 13-0 with about a minute and a half to play in this game. And, Terry, how do you have a team with Randall Cunningham and Keith Byers and Keith Jackson and not able to put a point on the board all day?
Well, I don't know how you do that. If you have the talent there, it goes back to what we were saying last week about the Cowboys. You can